vibrate mode पर रख दीजिए या फिर silent mode पर. I repeat, kindly put your mobile phones on silent mode or vibrating mode. Also, a humble request to each one of you present in the hall, do not move from your seats during the session is on. Our Honorable Chief Minister, sir, and the other Minister, sir, are arriving in this venue in a very short while from now. So, when our Honorable CM, sir, arrives, we will welcome them by giving a standing ovation and with a big round of applause. Thank you. सभी जीवों पर प्रभु के आशीर्वाद बरसते रहें, ऐसी उन्हें प्रार्थना, अभ्यर्थना। On this occasion, we would now like to felicitate our esteemed dignitaries on the dais. Foremost, would like to request Shri S. Haider, IAS, Additional Chief Secretary, Government of Gujarat, to kindly welcome Honorable Chief Minister, Sir Shri Bhupendra Bhai Patel, with a bouquet and a shawl. Thank you. I now request Mr. Sandeep Sagle, IAS, Industries Commissioner, to felicitate Honorable Minister Sir Shri Balwant Singh Ji Rajput. Thank you. I now request Mr. Darshan Shah, Chairman, CII Gujarat State, to felicitate Honorable Minister Sir Shri Jagdish Bhai. Thank you. Would now request Shri Rajesh Bhai Bharhat, Joint Commissioner DIC, to kindly welcome Honorable Mayor Ahmedabad, Srimati Pratibha Ben Jain. Thank you. अब हम मंचस्थ विराजमान सभी गणमान्य सम्माननीय अतिथियों का शॉल से स्वागत करेंगे, अभिवादन करेंगे। Now, in order to deliver the welcome address and set the tone of the session, I would now like to invite Mr. Piruz Khambhata, Group Chairman, Rasna Industries.
Good evening. On my personal behalf of CII, behalf of Government of Gujarat, it's my great honor to formally welcome our Honorable Chief Minister of Gujarat, Shri Bhupendra Patel. So thank you for being here, and thank you for leading Gujarat. Whatever news we have got from Japan and Singapore are like never before. And thank you for what I always call leading a people's government. And I'm sure this Vibrant is going to be a people's Vibrant, and that is most important. And then we have the Honorable Minister, Mr. Balwant Singh Ji, sir, welcome. We have Minister, Mr. Jagdish Bhai Panchal, welcome, sir. Mr. Shri Haider, the architect of this whole Vibrant, welcomes. Sangeet Singh Ji, Mr. Sandeep Sagle, our Mayor, Pratibha Jain, ma'am. From the industry, we have Zarir Langrana, who is Executive Director and President Tata Chemicals, welcome. Darshan, my colleague, many other fellow industrialists, members of CII, members from industry, members of media. It's a great honor for me to give this welcome address, especially because I'm involved with Vibrant Gujarat from probably the day it started. And today I'm very happy to see the way Vibrant Gujarat has changed itself. First, we made Vibrant Gujarat into a role model for other states in India. And now Vibrant Gujarat has made itself into a role model for the international events also. Because today Vibrant is not only a Gujarat event, it has become a global event. And I don't like to use the word, but I still believe it is the what I call Gujarat has become like the Davos of India. When we host this event, it is at that parallel, at that level. Having said that, I think it is very important to today understand that our Prime Minister's vision is Make in India, Atmanirbhar Bharat. And I always believe that Make in India is the right mantra because it talks of making India and manufacturing in India and taking it to the world. And Gujarat is very, very, if you ask me, geographically, temperamentally, from infrastructure, the way our academics are, the way our people are, we can become the gateway to the world. And let me give an example. The biggest announcement I felt was there in the G20, B20, and I was part of it, was the India, Middle East, Europe corridor. Now, people have to understand the meaning of it. We have signed a FTA with Dubai, unimaginable before 2 years, soon with GCC, soon with Middle East, Europe. In fact, they want an FTA more than we want. UK. Imagine now the whole infrastructure gateway. So Gujarat can manufacture not for Gujarat. Now we used to think in Surat we'll make saris for whatever Bengal. We are going to make saris today, which will from here go to Italy also. And that is the beauty of what I call Gujarat stands for. And I believe that is what I think the ExportEXCELerate theme of this event should concentrate on. How we can make in India, in Gujarat particularly, for the world, and how that will benefit the whole state in terms of employment, infrastructure, our industrialists, and actually make India, Gujarat a better place to live. So I believe that should be the theme of today's event. Now obviously I've got only 5 minutes, so I will not like to dwell too much about it, but let me end by saying that when I think of the theme of this event, ExportEXCELerate, I definitely think if some state can achieve it, it is Gujarat. Having stayed in this state for all long, I think we Gujaratis have shown the world a lot of new things. I think one thing which we have to now show is the world is looking at options. I would not like to name the country, but the world is looking at manufacturing options. And India is today, with our Prime Minister, has already been placed in that option. We don't need to tell anybody where India is or where Gujarat is. How can we attract the big factories of the world to Gujarat? And I think that is what this Vibrant has to achieve. And I'm very sure that under the honorable leadership of our CM, we will now get into the next journey of Vibrant Gujarat, which is making in Gujarat for the world and making Gujarat a manufacturing power-up, as I see it. Thank you very much. And look forward to very good proceedings. And I'm sure today's proceeding will be recorded. And we in CII will be very happy to work with fellow industry friends. A lot of people believe that these events are only for, let us say, speakers and listening. I think no, these events are to understand, and we would be very happy to give the government what I call should be the right takeout of this event, a roadmap for an export policy. I think this event and the Vibrant event, we should make what I call, I somehow believe, a specific export policy for a state, how we can change, what we can do specifically for exporters. Thank you very much again. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for your warm welcome words and also for your faith in the state of Gujarat. કાપડ, રસાયણો, ફાર્માસ્યુટિકલ્સ અને હીરા જેવા વિવિધ ક્ષેત્રોમાં એક્સપોર્ટમાં નોંધપાત્ર વૃદ્ધિ દ્વારા ગુજરાતી એક્સપોર્ટ ક્રાંતિ નોંધપાત્ર બની છે અને આ એક ઐતિહાસિક આર્થિક ઘટના છે. રાજ્યની ભૌગોલિક સ્થિતિ, મજબૂત ઇન્ફ્રાસ્ટ્રક્ચર, વ્યવસાય તરફી નીતિઓ અને ઉદ્યોગ સાહસિક સંસ્કૃતિના લીધે આ નિકાસને વૃદ્ધિ મળી છે. સાથે સાથે પોર્ટ્સ, SEZ આમાં ઉમેરો કરી છે અને ગુજરાતને નવી સિદ્ધિ સર કરવામાં સફળતા પ્રાપ્ત થઈ છે. आइए देखते हैं इसी उपलक्ष्य में एक ऑडियो वीडियो फिल्म.
Gujarat has since millennia been the gateway for global trade, taking the magic of India for the benefit of the rest of the world. In fact, the first dock in the world was set up in Lothal, and thus India's trade with the world began here. 5,000 years later, India's first specialized chemical port was set up in Dahej. This is the magnificent state of Gujarat. If its borders are strategically conducive for trade, Gujarat's rich hinterlands are filled with inherent entrepreneurship acumen across industries. It's no wonder that right from ancient times up to as recently as 2023, Gujarat continues to be the leading exporter of India. The state of Gujarat is in perfect alignment with Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi's vision of local goes global, where innovations are consistently being rolled out, both towards production of world-class products as well as their supply to international markets.
देश के विकास के लिए, मेक इन इंडिया के लिए और ग्लोबली आपका सामर्थ्य बढ़े, इसके लिए ये सरकार हमेशा आपके साथ है, प्रधानमंत्री स्वयं आपके साथ है.
In the financial year 2022-23, Gujarat's merchandise contributed to 33% of India's merchandise export. But that's just one reason why Gujarat is the gateway to the world. Here are a few more reasons why the future begins from Gujarat. Gujarat ranked first in Niti Aayog's Export Preparedness Index (EPI) 2021 and 2020. Gujarat has created an excellent ecosystem at the district levels through focused initiatives to promote and provide support to local manufacturers. In the 2022 edition of Niti Aayog's Export Preparedness, Gujarat, with 8 districts in the top 25 export districts in the country, leads the table as usual. Gujarat once again topped in export performance by consistently demonstrating significant growth in its exports and has increased its footprints across the global markets. Gujarat has extensive infrastructure and last-mile connectivity to enable ease of production and facilitate exports. Gujarat also has the highest cargo handling capacity in India and manages 40% of India's cargo movement. Gujarat is prepared to scale to new heights thanks to the astute leadership of Honorable Chief Minister Shri Bhupendra Bhai Patel. Specialized infrastructure projects such as special investment regions like Dholera Special Investment Region (DSIR), Mandal Becharaji Special Investment Region (MBSIR), Petroleum Chemicals and Petrochemicals Investment Region (PCPIR) are on their way to boost production, attract investments and cater to the needs of the world. Mega infrastructure projects such as Dream City, Surat Diamond Bourse, Gift City, PM Mitra Park, Bulk Drug Park, State's Integrated Logistics and Logistics Park Policy are set to further strengthen various sectors in Gujarat. By 2030, India aims to achieve $1 trillion in merchandise exports, and Gujarat is all geared up to continue being the largest contributor in helping the nation reach this target. Gujarat, where the vision of Make in India is further enhanced to make for the world. Vibrant Gujarat Summit 2024, Gateway to the Future.
Thank you. Now on this occasion, I would request Shri Sanjeet Singh, IRS Senior Advisor Trade and Commerce, Niti Aayog, Government of India, to share his valuable insights with us.
Shri Bhupendra Bhai Patel ji, Honorable Chief Minister, Gujarat, dignitaries on the dais, senior government officers, leaders of industry, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is my distinct privilege to have this opportunity to be able to share my thoughts at this Pre-Vibrant seminar on exports, which has so aptly been named ExportEXCELerate Gujarat Export Revolution for Viksit Bharat. As the name states, Gujarat is already leading from the front. Now, how to accelerate it even further, and how it can take on its shoulders, rather I should say strong shoulders, the responsibility of carrying out the Honorable Prime Minister's dream of Viksit Bharat at 2047. The Honorable Prime Minister addressed the nation from the rampart of Red Fort on our 76th Independence Day on August 15, 2022, and set before us the Panch Pran for the coming 25 years of our nation's Amrit Kal by 2047. One of the first Panch Pran of Amrit Kal was the goal of developed India, Viksit Bharat. The Prime Minister had referred to it again during the last Governing Council meeting of Niti Aayog held on 27th May 2023, which we had the honor of having Honorable Chief Minister attend at the iconic convention hall of the G20 at Bharat Mandapam. Here, the Prime Minister had stressed that the center, states and UTs should work as Team India and fulfill the dreams and aspirations of the people for a Viksit Bharat at 2047. The dream of India, achieving rapid, inclusive and sustainable growth, and accompanied by India with a reduced import dependence, enjoying energy independence and well integrated in the global supply chains. Today, sir, India continues to be the fastest growing economy in the world despite the geopolitical challenges. A significant contributor to this is the country's export performance, which is going strong 2 years in a row despite strong headwinds. During the fiscal year 22-23, India has achieved a merchandise export of $450 billion and service exports of $326 billion. Now, the challenge is sustaining this positive momentum, which is very crucial for India to achieve the goal of $2 trillion on services and merchandise put together by 2030. India aspires to increase its share of global trade to 10% in 2047, with the immediate focus of reaching 3% by 2027, and presently it is at 2.3%. So there's a large challenge before us. Addressing all the gathered Honorable Chief Ministers and the leaders of other subnational groups, the Honorable Prime Minister had said, when states grow, India grows, and had emphasized the need to evolve a common vision to achieve a Viksit Bharat by 2047. Sir, it is clearly established that exports promote growth in a country. The same is true for our states, which can leverage exports as drivers of growth to rapidly achieve their development goals. And needless I say, Gujarat is a prime example of that, which has really shown to the rest of the country that how this can be done. Sir, from Niti Aayog's perspective, Gujarat is a pivotal state in this endeavor to ensure that India can achieve sustained export growth and leverage it for the development in our country. For the third consecutive financial year, Gujarat has remained the top exporter for India. For 22-23, Gujarat's total exports have pegged at 12 lakh crores, which is nearly 1/3 of the country's exports. The strategy of the government of Gujarat to enable India to become a 5 trillion economy perfectly resonates with this call by our Honorable Prime Minister. The strategy states that if India has to achieve the target of GDP of 5 trillion by 26-27, Gujarat has to run faster. Gujarat is the growth engine of India. Sir, at Niti Aayog, we deeply appreciate this commitment of the state of Gujarat under your leadership, which has really taken upon itself the responsibility of leading from the front to raise the standard of the entire nation. A quick calculation shows that Gujarat will have to grow for the next 5 years at about 14.5% CAGR against the past decadal growth of 12.3%. And we feel absolutely confident that this is achievable, sir, and very much achievable. Sir, Niti Aayog is an active partner and always ready to support Gujarat. In fact, recognizing the crucial role played by states like Gujarat towards fully realizing the export potential of the nation, Niti Aayog in the past 6 months has carried out 2 comprehensive studies. One, of course, is the Export Preparedness Index, in which Gujarat, as usual, has been exceedingly performing well. 2020, 2021, 2022, every year they have really performed extremely well. But we have also carried out another study, which is to identify critical export products export destinations and the potential that they hold. We have done a deep dive into states like Gujarat, because Gujarat being the focal state, and we have examined something in detail. So if I have your permission, I would like to state just a couple of findings of these two findings. First is the issue of high concentration of exports. Now, there are three aspects to this. Number one, from where do we export? So if you look at, I'm talking about India now, out of the 680 districts of India which engage in export, top 100 districts contribute 87% of the total exports. Gujarat has 14 such districts. This is followed by Maharashtra, of course, with 12, and Tamil Nadu 9, and so on. Second, if you look at what products do we export, the top 10 commodity groups contribute around 80% of the total exports from the country. Engineering goods, petroleum products, gem and jewelry. These top three, again, are the ones in which Gujarat dominates. And third, if you look at to whom do we export, India has an export relationship with almost 190 countries, but the top 30 export destinations make up for 60% of India's exports. In fact, 49% of the country's exports go to just 10 countries. Now, this is an area of worry. And as usual, we turn to the strongest pillar of India, which is Gujarat. So, sir, we turn to you to help us find solution to this, because we are very aware that a high concentration of exports may expose an economy to vulnerabilities and external shocks. So, what steps do we take to diversify our exports both regionally and product-wise? And from this comes the second learning when we were looking at the critical sectors which we were identifying. In a recent study, we have identified critical sectors of export and focus export action. And of course, in Gujarat, there's a diversified export of products. And there are at least 9 major export clusters, including Bharuch, Kutch, Ahmedabad, Jamnagar, Anand, Valsad, not to mention Surat and Jamnagar. These are key clusters with high exports of agrochemicals, vegetable and fruit products, medicaments, specialty chemicals, organic chemicals, a wide variety of 9 core areas and 6 sunrise sectors have been identified by the state already as focus sectors. The suggestion which came out from the study is, can we, for example, look at electronics, furniture, and shipbuilding, which has always been the strength of Gujarat, to also be included in the thrust sectors. Why? Because the study indicates that these sectors put together have contributed to $2 billion worth of exports in financial year 23 alone. Similarly, how can we encourage incentivizing major Indian and global companies currently in the state on expansion and greenfield within the state, especially to move into regions which are not yet industrialized? This will also bring in diversification. Sir, as I mentioned, I am mentioning this here on this ExportEXCELerate to a state like Gujarat, because already on an accelerated path. How it can show this example to the rest of the country, how we can do it, how we can diversify our exports, how we can take export benefits to each and every part of our nation. Sir, in a recent technology major breakthrough on EV, Gujarat has again excelled. It has attracted major EV players to come and set up base in Gujarat. Many, many congratulations on that. Sir, our study signals that other than this, there are other commodities in which there's a huge potential for investment attracting investment, because there is a strong volume of growth by countries to which India exports. For example, I'll just mention 3. USA can take on automotive components, food products, chemicals, pharmaceuticals. The potential is much larger than what we are actually exporting to this country. Saudi Arabia is importing a lot of food products and pharmaceuticals. Can Gujarat benefit from this? Because it is so close. It's got a huge coastline. Netherlands is a new export destination. Pharmaceuticals, textiles, chemicals, these are again in large demand to Netherlands and to the whole of Europe. There are also opportunities for Gujarat to fulfill the emerging demand in specific areas. And we have again identified products which are not yet being exported by India to a large scale, and the potential is about $800 billion. And these include integrated circuits, photo lab equipment, office machine parts, and these are all in excess of $100 billion exports of financial year 23. So these are ready markets and they are really growing. This is in European Union, this is in United States. And which other state is better poised than Gujarat to really take advantage of this? I will take exactly 2 more minutes because I cannot resist, but this is something which Gujarat has shown by example, that connectivity empowers exports. A country's transport facilities are directly correlated with the industrial activity, trade and economic development. In fact, if you look at the top 100 districts, we will see that they all have better connectivity. Transport connectivity in India can be measured across 4 parameters in which all 4 Gujarat scores the highest: road density, number of freight terminals, railway density, and distance to a seaport, and distance to an airport. A prime example, of course, is our own state of Gujarat, which is strategically located along India's longest coastline of 1,600 kilometers and the nearest maritime outlet to Middle East, Africa, and Europe. My friend mentioned before that the IMSC is a new infrastructure mega project which is coming up in the globe. Gujarat is an integral part of this. So we have to really start looking at it. This is what Niti Aayog study is pointing out. Sir, I would like to say that Gujarat, with its over 100,000 kilometers of roads, including national highways, state highways, and 17 operational ports, airports, and over 40 ports, has emerged as a gateway to the northern and central hinterland of India. Now, businesses of Punjab, Haryana, Himachal, Uttar Pradesh, MP, Rajasthan, and many other such states are waiting to benefit from the infrastructure which Gujarat is initiating. So, sir, we are looking to Gujarat to not only ensure that Gujarat becomes vibrant, but the entire hinterland which Gujarat serves should also resonate with the vibrance of Gujarat. Sir, you have shown us that the regional infrastructure can be, how this regional infrastructure can further be strengthened. Industrial corridors like the Delhi-Mumbai Industrial Corridor, the DSIR, the MBSIR, the GIFT City, are all examples which need to be exported to other states so that they can observe and learn. I would like to end, sir, with the Honorable Prime Minister when on 12th May 2020, he addressed the nation and said, and this was the time when we were still coming out of the shadow of COVID, and he said, he gave the clarion call for Atmanirbhar Bharat, self-reliant India. In the same speech, Honorable Prime Minister had recalled the devastation in Kutch after the earthquake and said that through determination and resolve, Kutch had risen back on its feet. He had said a similar determination is needed to make the country self-reliant. Sir, Gujarat and the resilience of the people of Gujarat continue to be an inspiration to the whole of India. And we would like Gujarat to really lead from the front once again in this particular field. Thank you and Jai Hind.
Thank you very much, sir, for your highly informative address and also for the support and faith of Niti Aayog today and always in Gujarat. આજે આપણી સાથે છે ગુજરાત રાજ્યના માનનીય ઉદ્યોગ મંત્રી શ્રી બળવંતસિંહજી રાજપૂત. આવો ખૂબ ઉમળકા સાથે તેઓને તેમના સંબોધન માટે આમંત્રિત કરીએ.
આજના કાર્યક્રમમાં ઉપસ્થિત ગુજરાતના લોકલાડીલા મક્કમ અને ગતિશીલ એવા અમારા મુખ્યમંત્રી આદરણીય ભૂપેન્દ્રભાઈ પટેલ સાહેબ, મારા સાથી મંત્રી મુરબ્બી શ્રી જગદીશભાઈ વિશ્વકર્માજી, અમદાવાદના મેયર પ્રવિતાબેન જૈન, ડેપ્યુટી મેયર જતીનભાઈ પટેલ, દેવાંગભાઈ દાગી, સ્ટેન્ડિંગ કમિટીના ચેરમેન શ્રી, મારા સાથી ધારાસભ્ય મુરબ્બી શ્રી અમિતભાઈ ઠાકર, હસમુખભાઈ પટેલ, બાબુસિંહ જાદવ, દર્શનાબેન વાઘેલા, કંચનબેન રાદડિયા, કૌશિકભાઈ જૈન, અમારા ચેમ્બરના પ્રમુખ આદરણીય મુરબ્બી શ્રી અજયભાઈ, મારા અધિકારી મુરબ્બી શ્રી ઉદ્યોગ મુખ્ય સચિવ હૈદરજી, સંજયસિંહજી, સંદીપ સાંગલેજી, મંચ પર બેઠેલા તમામ મારા ઉદ્યોગકાર મિત્રો, આજે આજના પ્રસંગે ઉપસ્થિત ઉદ્યોગકાર મિત્રો, ભાઈઓ બહેનો અને પત્રકાર મિત્રો, આજે સૌ આપ આ વાયબ્રન્ટ સ્વીટમાં ઉપસ્થિત રહીને ઉત્સાહભેર પહેલાં તો જે ગુજરાતમાં અહીં પધાર્યા છો એ બદલ આપનો ખૂબ ખૂબ દિલથી હું આભાર માનું છું. મને જણાવતા એક વાતનો આનંદ છે. આનંદ એ વાતનો છે કે સમગ્ર ગુજરાતની અંદર માત્ર 6.26 મિલિયનનો જ્યારે આપણે નિકાસ કરતા હતા ત્યારે આદરણીય ગુજરાતના મુખ્યમંત્રી નરેન્દ્રભાઈ મોદી સાહેબ હતા. એમને વિચાર્યું કે સમગ્ર વિશ્વની અંદર એ ગુજરાત એક વેપાર માત્ર સમગ્ર તક ગુજરાતને કાંઈ કરીને કેટલાય ક્ષેત્રે આગળ લઈ શકાય એવી સ્થિતિ છે. ત્યારે એ જમાનાની અંદર એમને દિવ્ય દ્રષ્ટિ રાખીને 2003ની અંદર વાયબ્રન્ટ શરૂઆત કરી. વાયબ્રન્ટની સાથે સાથે નવી પોલિસીઓનું ગઠબંધન કર્યું, માળખાકીય સુવિધાઓ વધારી, ગુજરાતનો 1600 કિલોમીટર જે દરિયો છે એ દરિયાનો કેવી રીતે ઉપયોગ કરી શકાય એના માટેની વ્યવસ્થાનો પાઠ કર્યો. એના ભાગરૂપે અને અમારા ગુજરાતના મુખ્યમંત્રી આદરણીય ભૂપેન્દ્રભાઈ પટેલ સાહેબે એ જ માર્ગે એમાં અનેક પ્રકારની આજે વ્યવસ્થાનો ભાગ દિન પ્રતિદિન આગળ થયો. ત્યારે મને જણાવતા આનંદ છે કે એ વખત માત્ર 6.26 હતું, આજે ગૌરવ સાથે કહી શકાય કે 24 ગણો આજે આપણે વધારો નિકાસમાં કર્યો છે. એટલે આપણે એમ કહેવાય કે ગુજરાતની અંદર $1.47 મિલિયન જે આજે ગુજરાતની અંદર આપણે ખરેખર નિકાસ કરી રહ્યા છીએ. એ પોલિસીના કારણે સમગ્ર ગુજરાત આજે 33%થી વધારે ભારતની અંદર નિકાસ કરવાનો જો કોઈ ભાગ હોય તો આજે ગુજરાત કરી રહ્યું છે. આજે કાર્ગો ક્ષેત્રે આપણે એમ કહી શકાય કે 40%થી વધારે આખા ભારતનો કાર્ગો આપણા ગુજરાતમાંથી આજે જઈ રહ્યો છે. એના કારણે કદાચ આપણે જાણીએ કે આજે પેટ્રોલિયમ પેદાશની અંદર સમગ્ર ભારતની અંદર માત્ર હું ટકાવારી એટલા માટે કહું છું કે 76%થી વધારે જો ભારતનું પેટ્રોલિયમ આજે ઉત્પાદન છે એ આજે ગુજરાતની અંદર નિકાસ થઈ રહ્યું છે. કેમિકલ ક્ષેત્રે 55%થી વધારે આજે આપણે મોકલી રહ્યા છીએ. મોતી હોય, અર્ધ કિંમત સ્ટોન હોય એને પણ આજે 41%થી વધારે આપણે એક્સપોર્ટ કરી રહ્યા છીએ. સિરામિનમાં પણ 81%થી વધારે આજે આપણે ગુજરાત આજે એક્સપોર્ટ કરી રહ્યું છે. આ બધા કારણે ગુજરાતની અંદર કહી શકાય કે ટોચના વિશ્વના જે દેશો છે એની અંદર અમેરિકામાં આજે 27%થી વધારે આજે ગુજરાત એક્સપોર્ટ કરી રહ્યું છે. આજે સાઉદી અરેબિયાની અંદર 37%થી વધારે કરીએ છીએ. આજે ઓસ્ટ્રેલિયાની અંદર 52%થી વધારે કરીએ છીએ. સાઉથ આફ્રિકાની અંદર 41%થી વધારે કરીએ છીએ. અને અમે હમણાં મલેશિયા ગયા હતા ત્યારે મલેશિયાની અંદર અમે જ્યારે કીધું કે ભાઈ 30% આખા ભારતનું તમારું જે એક્સપોર્ટ થાય છે એ ગુજરાતમાંથી આવે છે. આ ગુજરાતની એક વિશેષતા અને આદરણીય આપણા નરેન્દ્રભાઈ મોદી સાહેબ આપણને જે રીતે બતાવીને ગયા છે એ રીતે એનો રસ્તો જેના કારણે આજે ગુજરાત આટલા સુધી પહોંચ્યું છે. આદરણીય અમારા મુખ્યમંત્રી ભૂપેન્દ્રભાઈ પટેલ સાહેબે ગુજરાતની અંદર વિકાસ સારો એનાથી વધારે કેવી રીતે ડેવલપમેન્ટ થઈ શકે એના માટેની વ્યવસ્થા પણ કરી છે. 1600 કિલોમીટર જે દરિયો છે એના અંદર માળખાકીય વિકાસ દિન પ્રતિદિન આજે વધારો થઈ રહ્યો છે. આપણા 48 બંદરો છે અને રાજ્યમાં એમ કહી શકાય કે લોજિસ્ટિક માળખા ઉપરાંત ગુજરાત સરકાર આજે અનેક પોલિસીનું ડેવલપમેન્ટ કરે છે. આજે પેટ્રોલિયમ કેમિકલ હોય, પેટ્રોલિયમ નેસ્ટવર્ટ હોય, રિઝર્વ એટલે પીસીઆર હોય, માંડલ બહુચરાજી હોય, દોરેલા હોય, ગિફ્ટ સિટી હોય, એવા અનેક પ્રોજેક્ટો આજે ગુજરાતની અંદર ચાલી રહ્યા છે. આવનાર સમયની અંદર પીએમ મિત્રા પાર્ક હોય, બલ્ક પાર્ક હોય, એમ કહેવાય કે આવા અનેક પાર્કોના કારણે આજે ગુજરાત દિન પ્રતિદિન આવનાર સમયની અંદર નિકાસમાં વધારો કરી શકાય એવી અનેક ફેસિલિટીઓ આજે ગુજરાત સરકાર કરી રહી છે. આજે પોલિસી સેમિકન્ડક્ટર પોલિસી હોય, આરટી પોલિસી હોય, આત્મનિર્ભર ગુજરાત સ્કીમ હોય, 2022 કે ગુજરાત લોજિસ્ટિક અને લોજિસ્ટિક પાર્ક પોલિસી હોય, MSME ઉદ્યોગ માટેની વિવિધ પોલિસીઓ પણ આજે ગુજરાત સરકાર કરી રહી છે, જેના કારણે આપણે નિકાસમાં દિન પ્રતિદિન વધારો કરી શકાય એવી સ્થિતિ છે. હમણાં જ જેમ કહેવામાં આવ્યું કે નીતિ વિષયકમાં 25 જિલ્લાઓ જે કહેવાય ભારતની અંદર, એમાંથી 8 જિલ્લાઓ આપણા ગુજરાતના હતા. આપણા સૌ માટે ગૌરવની વાત છે કે 8 જિલ્લાઓ ગુજરાતની પસંદગી થઈ હતી. આજે ફૂડ સિક્યોરિટી બાબતમાં પણ ગુજરાત દિન પ્રતિદિન એમાં પણ આગળ કેવી રીતે ડેવલપમેન્ટ કરી શકાય એના માટે ઇઝરાયલ હોય, યુએ હોય, અમેરિકા હોય કે એક્ટિવ જૂથના ભાગરૂપે ગુજરાતમાં પણ આ બધા ફૂડ સિક્યોરિટીની અંદર આપણે સારું આકર્ષણ અને ખેડૂતોને વધુમાં વધુ ડેવલપમેન્ટ થાય એ બાબતનું પણ આજે ડેવલપમેન્ટ આજે આપણે કરી રહ્યા છીએ. ગ્રીન હાઇડ્રોજન જે રીતે આજે ગુજરાતની અંદર 76% પેટ્રોલિયમ ઉત્પાદનમાં જેમ આપણે અગ્રેસર છીએ, એ જ રીતે ગુજરાત પણ નવીન વિશ્વમાં ગ્રીન હાઇડ્રોજન કેપિટલ બનાવવામાં તૈયારમાં છે. યુરોપ ગ્રીન હાઇડ્રોજન અને ગ્રીન એમોનિયાનો નિકાસ કરવા માટે પણ ભારતની કંપનીઓ જર્મન કંપનીઓ સાથે એમઓયુ કરી હસ્તાક્ષર કર્યા છે. આ રીતે ગુજરાત ટૂંક સમયમાં ભાવિ પેઢી માટે પણ વર્લ્ડમાં મહત્ત્વની ભૂમિકા ભજવે એ બાબતનું આજે ગુજરાત એ પ્રમાણે આગળ વધી રહ્યું છે. ગુજરાત સાથે વિકાસ અને સરકારના વિવિધ પ્રયત્નો આજે ગુજરાતમાં કરાઈ રહ્યા છે. કોમન ફેસિલિટી હોય, સ્માર્ટ ઔદ્યોગિક વસવાટો હોય, તેમજ રોડ રસ્તા હોય, આધુનિક પોર્ટ હોય, એરપોર્ટ હોય, આંતરરાષ્ટ્રીય કક્ષાના માળખાની સુવિધાઓ હોય, એ બધું જ આજે ગુજરાતમાં ડેવલપમેન્ટ થઈ રહ્યું છે. આવનાર આપણે સમજી શકીએ છીએ કે ગુજરાતની અંદર સૌથી મોટી સમૃદ્ધિ છે, શાંતિ છે, સુશાસન છે, સલામતી છે અને સૌથી વધારે ગુજરાત સરકારની સક્રિયતા છે. એના કારણે આજે દિન પ્રતિદિન ગુજરાત આજે એમ કહી શકાય કે વિશ્વના અનેક ક્ષેત્રોમાં ગુજરાતનું નામ જેમ ભારતનું ગ્રોથ એન્જિન બન્યું છે, એમ દુનિયામાં ગુજરાત ભારત સાથે સાથે પોતાનું એક આગવું ડેવલપમેન્ટ કરે સ્થિતિમાં આજે ગુજરાત આગળ જઈ રહ્યું છે. મિત્રો, મારે તો એટલી જ વાત કરવી છે કે આજે ગુજરાતમાં 2024ની અંદર નવી અનેક પોલિસીઓ સાથે ગુજરાતના લોકો વધુમાં વધુ નિકાસ કેવી રીતે કરી શકે એના માટે અમારા આદરણીય મુખ્યમંત્રી શ્રી ભૂપેન્દ્રભાઈ પટેલ સાહેબ હંમેશા જાગૃતિ સાથે સિંગલ વિન્ડો સાથે ગુજરાતના વેપારીઓને કેવી રીતે મદદ થઈ શકે એના બાબતની વ્યવસ્થાનો ભાગ આજે કર્યો છે. આવનાર સમયમાં હું આપ સૌને કહું છું કે આપણે ગુજરાતની અંદર જ્યારે આપણા પ્રધાનમંત્રી નરેન્દ્રભાઈ મોદી સાહેબનું 2047નું સપનું છે કે વિશ્વમાં આપણે ત્રીજી ઇકોનોમી બનીએ, વિશ્વમાં ગુજરાતની સાથે સાથે ભારતનું ગ્રોથ એન્જિન બને અને ભારતનું નામ એ ઇકોનોમીની દ્રષ્ટિએ, સલામતીની દ્રષ્ટિએ એમ કહેવાય કે સમગ્ર ભારત એ વિશ્વને વિશ્વગુરુ બને, મહાસત્તા બને એવા ધ્યેય સાથે જ્યારે પ્રધાનમંત્રી નરેન્દ્રભાઈ મોદી સાહેબ ચાલતા હોય ત્યારે આપણે પણ એક ગુજરાતી તરીકે આપણા અહીંના નિકાસકારો ભાઈઓ બહેનો એક સાથે બધાને સાથે મળીને એમાં વિકાસમાં આપણો ફાળો આપીએ, એવું યોગદાન આપીએ અને અહીંની ગુજરાત સરકારની જે સુવિધાઓ છે નિકાસના વધુમાં વધુ ડેવલપમેન્ટ થાય એ બાબતના સૂચનો ઘણા બધા મિત્રોએ જ્યારે કર્યા છે ત્યારે ચોક્કસપણે એ પ્રમાણે સરકાર એ પ્રમાણે વિચારીને આગળ વધશે એવી મને ખાતરી છે. આપણે બધા સાથે મળીને આગળ વધીએ એ વાત સાથે મારી પૂરી વાત કરું છું. ભારત માતા કી જય.
માનનીય મંત્રી શ્રી, આપના મહત્વપૂર્ણ સંબોધન માટે આપનો ખૂબ ખૂબ આભાર માનીએ છીએ. ગુજરાતનો વિકાસ જેવોનો જીવન મંત્ર બની ગયો છે. રાજ્યના પ્રત્યેક નાગરિક દરેક ક્ષેત્રમાં પણ પ્રગતિ કરે અને રાજ્ય ઉન્નતિના પથ પર હરણફાળ ભરતું રહે તેના માટે જેઓ સંકલ્પબદ્ધ છે એવા આપણા મૃદુ અને મક્કમ આદરણીય મુખ્યમંત્રીશ્રીને આવો ખૂબ ઉત્સાહ સાથે તેઓના વિશેષ સંબોધન માટે આમંત્રિત કરીએ.
તો વચમાં પાછળ ગોઠવાયું હતું, બધું સારું ગોઠવાયું હતું પાછળ. એમાં અનુકૂળ નથી આવતું, હજુ કંઈક તકલીફ પડે છે. અહીંયા બધાને પછી તકલીફ પડે ને. હા, આપણે તો બધાને સાથે રહેવાનું છે ને, એટલે કોઈ 10મી વાઇબ્રન્ટ ગુજરાત ગ્લોબલ સમિટ 2024 અંતર્ગત આજની પ્રી વાઇબ્રન્ટ ઓન એક્સપોર્ટ કોન્ફરન્સના ઉદ્ઘાટન સત્રમાં મારી સાથે મંચ ઉપર ઉપસ્થિત મારા સાથી મંત્રી શ્રી બળવંતસિંહ રાજપૂત, શ્રી જગદીશભાઈ વિશ્વકર્મા, મેયર શ્રીમતી પ્રતિભાબેન જૈન, ગુજરાત ચેમ્બર ઓફ કોમર્સના અધ્યક્ષ શ્રી અજયભાઈ પટેલ, નીતિ આયોગના વરિષ્ઠ સલાહકાર શ્રી સંજીતસિંહ, મારા સાથી ધારાસભ્ય શ્રી અમિતભાઈ ઠાકર, શ્રી દર્શનાબેન વાઘેલા, શ્રી હસમુખભાઈ પટેલ, શ્રી બાબુસિંહ જાદવ, શ્રી કંચનબેન રાદડિયા, શ્રી કૌશિકભાઈ જૈન, ડેપ્યુટી મેયર શ્રી જતીનભાઈ પટેલ, સ્ટેન્ડિંગ ચેરમેન શ્રી દેવાંગભાઈ દાણી, રચના ગ્રુપના ચેરમેન શ્રી પીરઝુ ખંભાતા, ટાટા ગ્રુપના એક્ઝિક્યુટિવ ડાયરેક્ટર શ્રી ઝરીર લંગરાના, સીસીઆઈના ગુજરાતના ચેરમેન શ્રી દર્શનભાઈ શાહ, અમારા ડિપાર્ટમેન્ટના મુખ્ય અધિક સચિવ શ્રી એસ.જે. ઈદર, ઉદ્યોગ કમિશનર શ્રી સંદીપ સાંગલેજી, ચૂંટાયેલા જનપ્રતિનિધિશ્રી, ઉપસ્થિત અધિકારીગણ, આમંત્રિત ગણમાન્ય મહાનુભાવો, પ્રેસ મીડિયાના મિત્રો, સૌને મારા નમસ્કાર. શાંત ના થઈ જશો એકદમ. હા, આમાં આ એક્સપોર્ટ શબ્દ આવે ને એટલે થોડું ઘણું તો ઇંગ્લિશ આવે ને. પણ આપણા એક મગજમાં પેલી ગ્રંથિ થઈ ગયેલી છે ને કે યારું ઇંગ્લિશ તો જરૂરી જ છે એમ. પણ હું તો આ ફરીને આવ્યો છું જાપાન અને સિંગાપુર, તો આપણે તો બધું ગુજરાતીમાં જ છેક સુધી પૂરું કર્યું છે. ને અહીંયાથી હમણાં ખંભાતાજીએ કીધું ને કે ભાઈ એ લોકોએ કીધું છે કે ના ખૂબ સારું ગુજરાતનું ત્યાં આગળ પ્રેઝન્ટેશન થયું છે, એટલે ગુજરાતીમાં એ લોકો સમજી ગયા છે પાકા પાયે. એટલે અને અહીંયા તો આપણે બધા જે ભેગા થયા આવીશું બધા ગુજરાતમાંથી જ છીએ ને, બધા અહીંયાથી એક્સપોર્ટ કરતા આવીશું ગુજરાતી જ છીએ ને બધા. તો પછી 1 રૂપિયામાંથી 100 રૂપિયા સુધી પહોંચી ગયા ને હવે ક્યાં ગભરાવાનું રહ્યું. અહીંયાથી નીતિ આયોગમાંથી હમણાં કહેતા હતા તો ગુજરાત હર હંમેશા લીડ રહેતું આવ્યું છે ને લેશે. એમનો જે ગુજરાત ઉપર ભરોસો છે, વિશ્વાસ છે કે ગુજરાત આજે ગ્રોથ એન્જિન હોય તો એ ગ્રોથ એન્જિને આ વિકસિત ભારત માટેની લીડ લેવી જ જોઈએ. અને આપણે બધા તૈયાર છીએ ને, એટલે આપણે તૈયાર એટલા માટે કે ભાઈ વિકસિત ભારત 2047માં થાય તો એના પહેલાં ગુજરાત કેવી રીતે વિકસિત થાય એના માટેનો આપણો બધાનો પ્રયત્ન છે. આજે વિશ્વના સૌથી લોકપ્રિય નેતા અને આપણા યશસ્વી વડાપ્રધાન શ્રી નરેન્દ્રભાઈ મોદીએ ગુજરાતને વેપાર ઉદ્યોગ ક્ષેત્રમાં વિશ્વ સ્તરનો વિકાસ વેગ આપવા 2 દાયકા પહેલાં વાઇબ્રન્ટ ગુજરાત સમિટનું વૃક્ષ રોપ્યું હતું. આજે વટવૃક્ષ બનીને દુનિયાભરના રોકાણકારો, ઉદ્યોગકારો, થોટ લીડર્સ માટે નોલેજ શેરિંગનું ગ્લોબલ પ્લેટફોર્મ બની ગયું છે. આપણે 37 દિવસ પછી એ સમિટની 10મી કડી આગામી 10 થી 12 જાન્યુઆરી 2024 દરમિયાન યોજવાના છે. વડાપ્રધાન શ્રી નરેન્દ્રભાઈએ દેશને આઝાદીના 100 વર્ષ 2047માં પૂર્ણ થાય ત્યાં સુધીમાં ભારતને વિકસિત ભારત બનાવવાનો સંકલ્પ કર્યો છે. અને વાઇબ્રન્ટ સમિટ વિકસિત ભારતના સંકલ્પને સાકાર કરવામાં સક્ષમ પ્લેટફોર્મ બનશે એવો મને પાક્કો વિશ્વાસ છે. વાઇબ્રન્ટ સમિટ દ્વારા વિદેશી રોકાણો અને ઉદ્યોગ ભારતમાં આવ્યા છે. સાથે જ આદરણીય શ્રી નરેન્દ્રભાઈના નેતૃત્વમાં આપણા ગુજરાતના નાના મોટા વેપાર ઉદ્યોગ વિદેશમાં એક્સપોર્ટ કરવા પણ સક્ષમ બન્યા છે. વડાપ્રધાનશ્રીના નેતૃત્વમાં આત્મનિર્ભર ભારત વિકસિત ભારતની આનાથી મોટી કોઈ ઉપલબ્ધિ ના હોઈ શકે એમ હું સ્પષ્ટ માનું છું. વિકસિત ભારત 2047માં રાજ્યમાં વિકાસ ક્રાંતિની સાથે નિકાસ ક્રાંતિના આપણા પ્રયાસોને સફળ બનાવવા આ પ્રી વાઇબ્રન્ટ સમિટ અન્વયે ExportEXCELerate સ્ટેટ કોન્ફરન્સનું આયોજન થયું છે. આ કોન્ફરન્સ રાઇટ જોબ એટ રાઇટ ટાઈમ છે તે માટે ઉદ્યોગ વિભાગને ખૂબ ખૂબ અભિનંદન આપું છું. આપણું ગુજરાત તો પ્રાચીન કાળથી દરિયાઈ માર્ગે વેપાર માટે જાણીતું રાજ્ય છે. તેજાના, મરી મસાલા, ઇમારતી લાકડું જેવી અનેક વસ્તુઓ પુરાતન સમયમાં લોથલ, ભરૂચ, સુરત અને ઘોઘા બંદરેથી દુનિયાના દેશોમાં નિકાસ થતી હતી. અંગ્રેજોએ ભારતમાં પહેલીવાર પગ મૂક્યો ત્યારે વિશ્વની બજારોમાં ઇન્ડિયન પ્રોડક્ટ્સની બોલબાલા હતી. ભારતે સોને કી ચીડિયા કહેવાતું હતું પહેલાં. આપણે કેવી રીતે એને પાછળ પાડી દીધું એ આપણને બધાને ખબર છે. તમે ધીમે ધીમે આમ જોરથી હશો તો થોડો આનંદ આવે બધાને. કાળક્રમે આપણે આપણું જ વિસરતા ગયા. વિદેશી પ્રોડક્ટ્સનું ઘેલું લાગ્યું અને સ્થાનિક એટલે કે લો ક્વોલિટી પ્રોડક્ટ એવી માનસિકતા બની ગઈ. હવે વિશ્વની બજારોમાં ભારતની આ લોસ્ટ ગ્લોરી આદરણીય વડાપ્રધાનશ્રીના નેતૃત્વમાં ફરી ઉજાગર થઈ છે. ભારત ટ્રાન્ઝિશન અને ટ્રાન્સફોર્મેશનના ઐતિહાસિક વળાંક ઉપર ઊભું છે. વડાપ્રધાનશ્રીની વિઝનરી લીડરશિપમાં G20નું ભવ્ય આયોજન, બિઝનેસ અને ઇન્વેસ્ટમેન્ટ ફ્રેન્ડલી તંત્ર, વિશ્વનું સૌથી મોટું માર્કેટ અને વિશાળ યુથ ટેલેન્ટ પૂલથી ભારતે તેની વિશ્વમાં શાખ વધારી છે. વડાપ્રધાનશ્રીના નેતૃત્વમાં હવે ભારતે નવા સપના, નવી દિશા તરફ મીટ માંડી છે. ભારતને વિશ્વની 5મી સૌથી મોટી અર્થવ્યવસ્થાવાળો દેશ બનાવ્યા પછી હવે આપણો ધ્યેય વિશ્વની 3જી મોટી અર્થવ્યવસ્થા બનાવવાનું આપણું લક્ષ્ય છે. ભારતને $5 ટ્રિલિયન ઇકોનોમી બનાવવાનો પણ શ્રી મોદીજી લક્ષ્ય નિર્ધાર કર્યો છે. આ માટે પ્રોડક્શન અને એક્સપોર્ટ ખૂબ ઉપયોગી અને મહત્ત્વના ક્ષેત્રો છે. એક સમયે ખૂબ આયાત કરનારું ભારત, ટ્રેડ ડેફિસિટ ભોગવનારું ભારત હવે અનેક વસ્તુઓ, ઉત્પાદનો અને સેવાઓ એક્સપોર્ટ કરતું દેશ બની ગયો છે. અનેક ક્ષેત્રે આત્મનિર્ભર પણ બન્યો છે. કાચા માલને બદલે ફાઇનલ પ્રોડક્ટ જ આપણે એક્સપોર્ટ કરીએ તેવી ક્ષમતા ઊભી થઈ છે. શેરડી આપણે ઉગાડીએ, તેમાંથી ખાંડ બનાવી એક્સપોર્ટ કરીએ અને શરબત બહારથી મંગાવવું એવી સ્થિતિ હવે સાવ બદલાઈ ગઈ છે. શેરડી આપણી, ખાંડ એ આપણી અને શરબત પણ આપણું, તેનો સ્વાદ આખી દુનિયા માણે એ રીતની વ્યવસ્થા ઊભી થઈ છે. રસનાના પીરજુ ખંભાતા અહીં બેઠા છે અને તેમની રસના બ્રાન્ડ આજે ઇન્ટરનેશનલ બ્રાન્ડ બની છે. વડાપ્રધાન શ્રી નરેન્દ્રભાઈ મોદીએ આપણને વોકલ ફોર લોકલનું સૂત્ર આપ્યું છે. સાથે હવે લોકલ ગોઝ ગ્લોબલનો નવો રાહ પણ ચીંધ્યો છે. વર્તમાન સમયમાં ડિજિટલ ટેકનોલોજીના ઉપયોગથી વ્યક્તિ દુનિયાના કોઈ પણ છેડે પોતાની પ્રોડક્ટ વેચી શકે છે. ડિજિટલ ટ્રેડના કારણે એક્સપોર્ટ હવે વધુ સરળ, ઝડપી અને વિશ્વસનીય બન્યું છે. પણ આ ડિજિટલમાં આજે હું ન્યૂઝ જોતો હતો તો પાછું કંઈક પડીકામાં મોબાઈલની જગ્યાએ કંઈક આવતું હતું. એટલે ક્યાંક ને ક્યાંક તો પાછા તૈયાર હોય એમ લોકો. ડિજિટલ ટેકનોલોજીનો એક્સપોર્ટ સેક્ટરની નવી દિશાઓ ખોલી આપી છે. આ નવી દિશાઓ અને ટેકનોલોજીના ઉપયોગના દિશાદર્શન માટે અહીં ટેકનોલોજી સેશન પણ યોજાવાનું છે. એક એવી માન્યતા અને છાપ છે કે વાઇબ્રન્ટ સમિટ એટલે મોટા મોટા ઉદ્યોગ રોકાણકારોને પ્રમોટ કરતી ઇવેન્ટ. આદરણીય વડાપ્રધાન શ્રી નરેન્દ્રભાઈએ સૌના સાથ સૌના વિકાસનો ધ્યેય રાખ્યો છે. મોટા ઉદ્યોગોને એન્સિલરીઝ માટે નાના મધ્યમ ઉદ્યોગની પ્રોડક્ટ્સની જરૂરિયાત રહે તે વડાપ્રધાન શ્રી સારી રીતે સમજ્યા છે. એટલા માટે જ એમએસએમઈની નવી વ્યાખ્યા વડાપ્રધાન શ્રીએ આપી અને એમએસએમઈ એટલે મેક્સિમમ સપોર્ટ ટુ મીડિયમ એન્ટરપ્રાઇઝ, નાના ઉદ્યોગોને મહત્તમ સમર્થન. આ પ્રોત્સાહન અભિગમને પરિણામે ગુજરાત 2 દાયકામાં એમએસએમઈની સંખ્યા 3.25 લાખથી વધારીને 8,66,000 પહોંચ્યું છે. એમએસએમઈ ઉદ્યોગ પણ પોતાની પ્રોડક્ટનું એક્સપોર્ટ કરી શકે તે માટે સરકારે માર્કેટ ડેવલપમેન્ટ સહાય યોજનામાં 43 કરોડની સહાય કરી છે. વડાપ્રધાનશ્રીના નેતૃત્વમાં 20 વર્ષમાં ગુજરાતે ઉત્પાદન અને નિકાસ 2 ક્ષેત્રે હરણફાળ ભરી છે. 2002માં આપણે પોર્ટ્સ પરથી 12 લાખ મેટ્રિક ટન કાર્ગો વહન થતું આજે 5400 લાખ મેટ્રિક ટન થઈ ગયું છે. મજબૂત ઇન્ફ્રાસ્ટ્રક્ચર, સીમલેસ કનેક્ટિવિટીઝ, ઇઝ ઓફ લોજિસ્ટિક અને એક્સપોર્ટ ઇકોસિસ્ટમ ગુજરાતની વિશેષતા છે. રાજ્ય સરકારના પ્રોએક્ટિવ ગવર્નન્સ અને ઇન્વેસ્ટમેન્ટ ફ્રેન્ડલી અભિગમના પરિણામે ગુજરાત ભારતનું એક્સપોર્ટ હબ બનવા તરફ અગ્રેસર બની રહ્યું છે. વાઇબ્રન્ટ સમિટના માધ્યમથી પોર્ટ, કાર્ગો હેન્ડલિંગ, ઈ મોબિલિટી, ગ્રીન હાઇડ્રોજન સહિતના નવા ઉભરતા સેક્ટરમાં રોકાણો ગુજરાતમાં લાવવાનો આપણો ધ્યેય છે. ગેટવે ટુ ધ ફ્યુચરની થીમ સાથે 10મી વાઇબ્રન્ટ સમિટથી ગુજરાતને આપણે ફ્યુચરિસ્ટિક ડેવલપમેન્ટ માટે સજ્જ બનાવવું છે. મને વિશ્વાસ છે કે એક્સપોર્ટને એક્સેલરેટ કરવા માટેની આ પ્રી વાઇબ્રન્ટ કોન્ફરન્સ આ માટે મહત્ત્વનું યોગદાન આપશે. વિકસિત ભારત 2047ના વડાપ્રધાનશ્રીના સંકલ્પને પાર પાડવામાં એક્સપોર્ટ રિવોલ્યુશન નિર્ણાયક બનશે એવા વિશ્વાસ સાથે વિરમું છું. ભારત માતા કી જય. વંદે માતરમ. જય જય ગરવી ગુજરાત.
માનનીય મુખ્યમંત્રી શ્રી, આપના પ્રોત્સાહનપૂર્ણ શબ્દો માટે, આપની પ્રેરક ઉપસ્થિતિ માટે અને વિશેષ માર્ગદર્શન માટે અમે પણ આપનો ખૂબ ખૂબ આભાર માનીએ છીએ. Before we move towards the last segment of this inaugural session, we would like to make a humble request to the guests from the industries and the various organizations. We have placed a feedback suggestion form. Kindly request you to fill that. We will appreciate it. I would now request Mr. Darshan Shah, Chairman CII, Gujarat State Council, and Managing Director, Hitachi High Rail Power Electronics Private Limited, to kindly deliver the vote of thanks.
Honorable Chief Minister of Gujarat, Shri Bhupendra Bhai Patel ji, Honorable Ministers, Government of Gujarat, distinguished dignitaries on the dais, respected dignitaries of the dais, friends from media, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. It is my pleasure to propose and deliver the vote of thanks at this exciting conference themed ExportEXCELerate, India's Export Revolution for Viksit Bharat at 2047. On behalf of everyone in this session, I would like to thank our Honorable Chief Minister for his extremely inspiring address. Sir, your vision for Gujarat is truly exemplary and will continue to guide and inspire the industry to work even harder towards attaining its true potential, thereby contributing effectively to our state and ultimately to the Indian economy. I also take this opportunity to thank honorable ministers and senior representatives from the Government of India and Government of Gujarat, industry leaders and dignitaries for sharing their thoughts on the way forward for boosting India's exports. I also want to express my appreciation to the participants, industry leaders, entrepreneurs and stakeholders for your active participation and engagement. Your commitment to the cause of enhancing India's exports is the driving force behind the success of this conference. Various topics addressed in this session have left us all with some interesting and thought-provoking takeaways. And I would like to thank each one of you for being a part of this summit and making it a grand success. I urge all of you present today to also ensure your participation in the Vibrant Gujarat Global Summit 2024, scheduled from 10th to 12th of January, and be a part of the India growth story by investing in Gujarat. And I'm confident that the upcoming Vibrant Gujarat Global Summit 2024 will help unlock many promising opportunities and pave way for the next level of growth for our state. Friends, our Honorable Prime Minister has given a clarion call for making India, our nation, as a Viksit nation, Viksit Bharat by 2047, and that has propelled India to become the growth engine of the world. So in terms of growth, India is the future, and Gujarat is the growth engine of this future, and Vibrant Gujarat Global Summit is the gateway to this future. I wish the state government a grand success for this summit. Thank you. Jai Hind, Jai Jai Garvi Gujarat.
Thank you very much, sir, for your warm thank you note. आइए एक बार फिर तालियों के साथ माननीय मुख्यमंत्री श्री, माननीय मंत्री श्री, मेयर श्री और सभी गणमान्य अतिथि को का हम उनकी मानक उपस्थिति के लिए धन्यवाद करते हैं. Thank you so much, Honorable Chief Minister of Gujarat. And after this motivating inaugural session, we will start with the insightful presentation and then the plenary session. We request you to kindly take up your seats, please. Thank you. We will just take 2 minutes from now. We request you to kindly take up your seats, please. Thank you. exploring challenges and opportunities for India. Are we done? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we have with us today Mr. Zarir Langrana, the Executive Director and President of Global Business Chemicals, Tata Chemicals Limited. Please help me welcome Mr. Zarir to share the address to the August gathering over here and his thoughts on global exports, exploring challenges and opportunities for India. Welcome, sir.
Thank you and good evening, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, industry members. We've had the privilege in the inaugural session to hear from the Honorable CM, Minister of Industries, and Senior Advisor from Niti Aayog on the preeminent space that Gujarat occupies on the export map of India. Its advantages, I think, stem from its strategic location, well-developed infrastructure and logistics, its very diversified industrial base, supportive government policies, a skilled workforce, and of course, a very proactive approach to economic development. All of these factors have collectively contributed to making Gujarat a key player in India's export landscape. However, I do believe that the potential is still immense and there is enormous headroom to progress and grow exports even further. While the government will continue to do what it needs to do in providing a conducive and an enabling environment, I think as industry, we have our own responsibility and roles to play to capitalize even more on the global export opportunity by considering some of the following strategic suggestions that I might be allowed to make. Today, sustainability, digital transformation, and innovation are three key drivers that no organization can ignore any longer, and no market can ignore any longer. Sustainability is increasingly becoming a key factor in global trade. Consumers around the world are becoming more conscious about the environmental impact of the products that they consume and buy. And if we want to capitalize on this growth, the first thing that we need to do is build safety and sustainability into the products and processes that we use. If you want a place at the global table, if you want to play a part in global value chains, we can't ignore sustainable products and sustainable processes. Whether it's green products and green processes, whether it's circularity, whether it's to do with emissions, all of these manufacturers have to adopt in their production processes to gain competitive edge in the global market. I'm absolutely confident, for example, that Gujarat is going to be the capital of this country in terms of energy transition materials, whether it's green hydrogen, solar panels, wind power, all of this, Gujarat is growing and will grow tremendously, not just for the domestic market, but also for export. And this offers a huge opportunity for us. I think obtaining certifications on sustainability like fair trade, organic certification can boost a company's reputation and make their products more appealing across the world. Similarly, third-party ESG ratings are becoming even more important and are now becoming the norm in choosing of suppliers. Quality is now a hygiene factor and a non-negotiable. Your product has to be world-class. It has to meet and perhaps even surpass global standards of quality. No customer today is going to accept anything less. And Brand India and Make in India has to have quality at its center and at its core. The rise in the use of digital technology and artificial intelligence is another key driver and a game changer in having an impact on international trade in a variety of ways. We are seeing almost every day new use cases in the use of digital technology and AI and ML. And these are changing the way that we do business today. For example, systems using AI and machine learning are today automating and optimizing custom clearance processes. For example, by using predictive analytics and risk assessment algorithms, customs authorities across the world are focusing on inspections only on high-risk shipments and not having to inspect everything that comes in. This obviously speeds up the flow of legitimate trade and also has the potential to reduce fraud. Electronic certificates, digital signatures, and systems like blockchain allow trade documentation and certificates of origin, bills of lading, letters of credit to be shared electronically across digital borders without paper. This again reduces delays and brings down transaction costs. While EDI systems still exist to move, blockchain is affording much greater transparency, trust, and reliability. The use of AI in fraud detection is another game-changing device that's gaining ground. AI-powered supply chain optimization helps us model global trade flows and distribution of products. This allows companies to plan manufacturing, inventory, and shipments for optimal time and cost efficiencies. By scraping and analyzing online data and news sources related to specific products or markets, tools are now available that can uncover trends that would be very difficult for humans to do. This can help traders and companies adjust pricing, prepare for changes, and prepare for new areas of demand. Digital platforms, especially for MSMEs and small businessmen, help us reach products globally, opening up new export markets, tools to handle translations, listings, payments. All of these reduce barriers to international trade. All of this emerging technology is invaluable in driving agility, speed, and reducing transaction costs. The other area that I think as businesses we should be looking at is how do we better leverage free trade agreements or FTAs. A lot of our FTAs in the past have had issues. They've not really delivered what we thought they would. But I do believe that even these today, with comprehensive analysis, can open up for us white spaces for taking in product market combinations that we might not be exploring today. Similarly, I think we should be aware of non-trade barriers and proactively work and prepare to overcome these either through regulations, through advocacy or through our own preparedness, and we need to do this in advance, whether these are reach like regulations in the chemical industry, phytosanitary regulations, the new carbon border adjustment mechanisms that are coming in place in the EU. All of these are non-tariff barriers, and I think we need to be prepared for these. Again, and especially for MSMEs, the government has put in place so many export incentives and schemes. Are we really leveraging these to the best? Whether it's duty-free import schemes, interest equalization schemes, ROTTAP, the whole area around transport and marketing assistance, market access initiatives, district as export hubs, a new initiative that's being put in place at the center and at the states. All of this, I think, is something that we should leverage even more. The India stack, the India digital stack, is making use of IT automation systems for various approvals. It codifies implementation. It makes the process much more transparent, paperless, online, and reduces fee structures and brings down transaction costs. All of these, I believe, is something that as industry we should be looking at more closely. And finally, and more importantly, none of this can be done without our people and our manpower. And we need to begin to upskill and reskill our workforce and build their capability to be future ready in a world that's very, very rapidly changing. So these are a few suggestions that I think industry members should take on board, because we have a collective role to play along with government authorities in boosting exports, not just from Gujarat, but from India. Thank you for your attention. I look forward to more insightful, productive, and enlightening discussions in the panel discussion and also on the presentations that will follow. Thank you once again.
Thank you very much, sir, for your valuable suggestions and the address. We highly appreciate it. As we are observing new age digital technologies in all aspects, it's now time to hear from the industry captains, policymakers, and representations of industry bodies about their thoughts on digital trade, leveraging technologies for seamless boundary-free trade. And for the same, I would like to invite on stage the moderator, Mr. Chintan Mehta, Director, Technology Advisory, KPMG India. Welcome, sir. As the panelist, we have on the dais Mr. Vinod Agrawal, Chairman and Managing Director, Arunya Organics Private Limited. Welcome, sir. Mr. Kulin Lalbhai, Executive Director, Arvind Limited. Welcome, sir. Mr. Sandeep Dandekar, Senior Director, NTT Global Data Centers. Dr. Ajay Sahai, Director General and CEO, Federation of Indian Export Organizations. We welcome you, sir. And Dr. Badri Narayanan, PhD, Fellow and former Lead Advisor and Head, Trade Commerce International Cooperation and Strategic Economic Dialogue, Niti Aayog, Government of India. Can we extend a very warm and a big round of applause for the moderator and all the panelists for this wonderful session of today. We welcome all the gentlemen on the dais and now request the moderator to take over the session further. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your nice words. Thanks, everyone, the government officials, the industry captains, my fellow panelists, the esteemed fellow panelists, all the people from the export industry which are in the audience, ladies and gentlemen. It's a privilege to be part of such distinguished panelists who are part from the captains of the industry, who are from the trade bodies, with the government policy makers. It's an honor to have a discussion with you and give get their viewpoints related to the exports and how the digital technology, digital innovation can help in achieving what our Honorable CM has just a couple of minutes ago mentioned about, scaling new heights in the exports. Rather taking much more time, we all would like to listen from the captains of the industry about their viewpoints. I will not spend much time and, start the session. I am a privilege to have Sri Kulin Bhai next sitting with me, and so, I'll start with him. Kulin Bhai, is part of the illustrious family, working in multiple areas, primarily in textile and all other related areas. So, a question to Kulin Bhai, to give his viewpoints. Primarily, how he feels that new age technology, my earlier colleague has mentioned about AI, ML, IoT. So how these new age technology are helping, or how Indian industry, especially manufacturing, textile, chemical kind of industry, how they are leveraging or how they are adopting this new technology, and what are his thoughts on the same? Kulin Bhai.
Yeah, so I think Industry 4.0 is a very major transformation happening as we speak, where technologies have the ability to really change how efficiently we can manufacture. I'll give you a few use cases. So for example, in our processing now in textiles, we have IoT devices which are able to give real-time reading of all the parameters happening in the machine, temperature, pressure, all of these indicators which help to prevent downtime. These indicators help to ensure that, the throughput and the operational efficiencies of the machinery are best in class. Now, this is just a small example of how you can use IoT and then predictive analytics on top of that IoT to transform the efficiency of a business. Similarly, if you go downstream in our industry, when we get into apparel and retail, today, more than 1/4 of the business has become digital, because we sell through the smartphone, we sell through e-commerce, and we generate so much data about the customer, about every single product we sell, and we use all of that data to design better, to sell better. So I think it is critical in today's day and age to adopt all these technologies so that, and only then can you remain competitive in a global environment.
Thanks, Kulin Bhai. He mentioned about retailing. So, especially, and we have seen how e-retailing especially developed in the apparel segment. So yes, we all are now talking about primarily e-retailing, especially the new generations. Thanks, Kulin Bhai, for your viewpoints. We have a lot of fellow panelists. So maybe Vinod Bhaji is again from the similar kind of chemical manufacturing background. So Vinodji, a similar question to you. How do you see technology facilitating in overall, whether it's logistics, whether it's supply chain, inventory, entire value chain of the business?
Thank you. See, if I start with the technology in chemical industry particularly, technology is seen to reduce the process time. When we talk about robotics or ML, nowadays we call it as something called micro reactors we are using. Say, the process time used to be 24 hours, which micro reactors are reduced to 4 hours. So that's why how the efficiency will increase. And if production will increase, productivity will increase, then only we will be competitive as compared to other countries. So in process, the lead time, the process time is very important. Second aspect in chemical industry is always a reduction of waste. How much we can minimize the waste, because 1 + 1 is always 2, and if we get 1.5, that means 0.5 is always your effluent. So how we can use the newer technology to reduce this effluent and prevent, and how we can increase our productivity is very important. Newer age technology, even for the pollution, has come up, like phantom technology, reverse osmosis, ATF, different kind of technologies has come to reduce the wastage, and how to reuse the waters or reuse the solid waste can be used again in the process, or to optimize the process. Second, you said about the logistics. Yes, chemical industry is very, very logistics driven, you can say, particularly the liquid transportation. And more than the cost, the safety is very important, because you know nowadays we can see so many accidents happening, spilling of liquids and everything is happening. So we have to be very cautious. We have to build infrastructure such that, and I'm happy that Gujarat has built PCPI region wherein a lot of storage for liquid, like liquid naphthalene, liquid gases, toluene, benzene, lot of downstream solvents has been arranged by government, because you know the fluctuations of this pricing directly affect to the costing of any industry. And if our costing, when we are exporting, and when we are importing the petrochemicals, the basic petrochemical, we are 100% vulnerable to the geopolitical situation. So in this case, the storage is very important, as well as the logistics. As we have seen, we have heard earlier also that lot of ICDs has built and so many ports has been built. Definitely the lead time, the reduction of transportation has reduced, but if we compare to other countries, still a lot of way has to be gone. We have to recycle the turnaround, the container movement of imports against the export has to be reduced so that the cost can be cut down.
See, Vinodji, I mean, you mentioned about logistics. So, you know, now people are talking about real-time tracking in the logistics because of the 5G or IoT. So do you foresee similar kind of, because you mentioned, you know, hazard and lot of wastage in the logistics. So especially considering the exports will involve a lot of logistics. So real-time tracking, are you foreseeing?
Lot of now, most of, if you see the pollution control also, all your liquid movement has to be GPS tracked, and everything is been monitored by the XGN portal of Government of Gujarat. So even if you want to dispose of our hazardous, everything, the manifest has to be put on the GPCB website, then only you can take out the waste from your factory. So lot of things is happening, and lot of IoT, as Kulin Bhai also mentioned, we are using the SCADA systems and everything to get the real time, because in chemical industry, pressure and temperature are the main ingredient, main pillars of any reaction. So to monitor vis-a-vis what the manually we used to do, instead if we are using the technology, definitely the reactions can be faster, reactions can be monitored, and wastage can be reduced.
Thanks, Vinodji. You know, it was really nice when we hear from stalwarts like Kulin Bhai and Vinodji about Industry 4.0 or IoT or ML or AI or 5G, because we still believe that these are the digital worlds of the, you know, the Western world. But now we are seeing that in our own things, everything has started moving. Now, we also have a fortune to have Mr. Sahai with us, and you know, from the policy or the industry body perspective, we would like to hear the inputs from Dr. Sahai also, especially, you know, Kulin Bhai rightly mentioned about e-retailing. So e-retailing is fueling the growth of the exports. What are his opinions, and what are his thoughts? Why, I mean, what potential or medium to long-term strategy is required to grow, have a 5 to 10 time growth in next couple of years, especially now more and more e-retailing is coming up. Dr. Sahai.
Digital e-commerce is ideally suited to a country like India, where you have exquisite artisans, craftsmen, women entrepreneurs, small businesses who have the best of the product and services, but they lack financial wherewithal and the marketing capability to showcase abroad. Now, with the coming of the e-commerce marketplace, we have seen number of cases where a woman who is producing, let us say, black bangles in a small district, she is able to export to the global market. And within few months of time, they are able to scale it up. We have number of cases where people is starting with the e-commerce have moved to the conventional exports. There are definitely irritants both at the policy level, but the good thing is that government is looking into an ecosystem to support the digital trade. Recently, the new foreign trade policy, they have come with the concept of the e-commerce hub, where under an umbrella, government wants to provide the facility where the tax authorities, fintech company, banks, courier companies, postal authorities are available under one umbrella so that the e-commerce can be promoted. I think we are looking into an effective use of digital technology in our entire processes. If you are looking into each agencies, all the stakeholders, they are actively involved in taking various measures to support the digital process. Custom has come with the Turant custom, where we are looking into the faceless, contactless, paperless custom. A bill of entry which is filed in JNPT is assessed somewhere in Bangalore. Immediate clearances are provided. DGFT has moved to a system where online authorizations are issued on a real-time basis. For certificate of origin, we have cases where within less than a minute you can get an SE certificate of origin, where earlier it used to take few days. The advantage that the entire utilization of FTA has gone up. And one of the factors is, of course, the easy issuance of the e-commerce. Today, the fintech companies are able to provide collateral-free lending to small and medium companies because they have access to the GST data, they have access to the income tax data, they are evaluating and providing. The turnaround time at the ports have gone down drastically, and amongst various measures, one of them is, of course, effective use of technology. Today, you have the JNPT port where the turnaround time has come down to as low as 22 hours, which is well close to very international benchmark. So I think we are looking into evolving an ecosystem where digital technology plays a pivotal role in facilitating and promoting exports.
Thanks, Dr. Sai. So, I mean, you mentioned about fintech as one of the key area. So, of course, we have seen the large tech giants from India doing software services export for a long time, and it is one of the key exports. How do you see smaller players in technology, how they are moving ahead, or how a product-based company or small fintech company, how they are taking advantage of the technology for exports? Any
so in
thoughts?
fact, I think I met a group of around 20 entrepreneurs in Indore. They were earlier struggling to get the finances from the bank because for the e-commerce, banks were not extending the credit. They were of the view that they require an order, and in the e-commerce, order is coming instantly. But then the fintech companies, they chipped in, they looked into the entire data of the GST, the entire data of the income tax of the companies, and looking into the profitability, looking into the bottom line of the companies, they started financing it. And today the numbers are growing. The short point which I am making is that since with the digital process, the transparency is there, you are able to take a very qualitative decision, and you don't require a kind of backing which banks were requiring for the collateral.
Thanks, Dr. Sai. My fellow panelist, Dr. Badri, who has worked in the Niti Aayog and is also currently working with multiple US tech giants as an advisor. So, a follow-up question of Dr. Sai, what I said, Dr. Sai mentioned about how fintech is also doing an exports, and how smaller fintech players are using the technology. Do you foresee any kind of, like UPI is one of the master technology innovation from India, and many of the other countries are now, aspiring or studying how we have done that. Do you foresee any such technology coming up in the export side also?
Thank you, Mr. Mehta, for this wonderful question. I think definitely with UPA we have shown the world how technology can be used for inclusion, and the extent to which the digital transactions have expanded, that's phenomenal. When it comes to exports, there are a few things to think about here. One is, connectivity is very important for exports, like my esteemed colleague Mr. Sanjit Singh mentioned in the previous session. And that is one aspect. And secondly, the discussion from the esteemed colleague from Tata Chemicals on sustainability is also very key in terms of exports. In both these aspects, digital technologies can be used a lot in terms of the sustainability tracking, tracking of emissions and so on, in the context of the recent European governments, European Commission's announcement of CBAM, Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism. We have to think about how do we really account for our emissions, how do we track and so on. So there are some technologies that can be used, maybe a combination of blockchain, Internet of Things, AI and so on, including cloud services. So in this regard, and in terms of connectivity also, there is when we look at the research on how India's export performance has changed over time, many researchers conclude that we have not been able to make use of many of our free trade agreements. The utilization rates have been low. One way to improve that is to improve connectivity. Because so many times the imports to particularly developed countries are not constrained by the market access. Market access is there. Of course, there are some non-tariff measures and so on, but when it comes to tariffs, we have good market access. But the constraint is more on our side, the connectivity and so on. So in these aspects, if we can develop some technologies, just like you mentioned about UPI, we have to think about technologies that can make the process of exporting faster and easier, and can navigate through the enormous documentation and other procedures that we have. For example, the UN ESCAP has come up with a cross-border paperless trade agreement. So that is something that we have also ratified as Government of India. And trade facilitation agreement in WTO, that also has a lot of provisions in this regard. So if we can take advantage of all these things, and our ecosystem, our startup ecosystem, and I see that there is a very fast emerging tech startup ecosystem in this area, in Ahmedabad area, and Honorable Chief Minister has gone to inaugurate another session in this area. I think this startup ecosystem can be also encouraged to develop technology solutions for the exporters. It's not, I don't think it is very difficult to come up with another revolutionary technology, something along the lines of UPI. If we can address all these different things, connectivity, sustainability, tracking, and supply chain analytics, if we can combine all these things in digital technologies and come up with some package and ecosystem of technology, that can definitely be the UPI for exports. So those are the broader set of things I would like to mention.
Thanks, Dr. Badri. I will come to you and Dr. Sai after some time. I will take one point from my another esteemed colleague, Mr. Sandeep, who comes from the large industry which has now come up, the data center. So, Sandeep ji, data center cloud business has increased considerably, especially post-pandemic. And we have seen more and more large players of the world are investing in India for the DC capacity, increasing the DC capacity. What are your thoughts? Like software service is one of the key exports, and we have seen a large export volume from India. How we can achieve the similarly in the DC or cloud operations, so that can be a next IT, giant from India?
Sure. So my views will be my individual views, not on behalf of my organization. And if you allow me to slightly deviate from a question in order to do a better coverage of content, because in the previous session, opening session, as well as Sir has spoken about IT, all of us have talked about what IoT does, what is Industry 4, etc. I think a lot of it is known to everybody now. So while that is important, my view is India has come a long way, and particularly because we are focusing on exports here and how to ramp up exports as a country, I think there is a tremendous amount of rebranding of India that has happened. We are seen today with completely different eyes than possibly it was a decade ago. We matter to the world much more. And therefore, I think what is happening right now, and we all must, honestly agree on what is the current situation, so that we know what is to be done next. Today, I think we are more important to the world as a market. We do not still produce finished product, end product, whether it is clothes, whether it is food, whether it is automobile or a software. We are not licensed producers. We don't sell technology. And because if you are a large market, it's a passing phase of time. Today you are a large market. After 10, 15 years, you may not be that large market, right? So how the momentum, the build that we have got as a country, how do we maintain that? So we have to go up in the chain and become a technology seller, technology producer, a finished product seller. So we should have something like Windows, we should have something like Microsoft, let's say Pentium, So unless that happens, and that is where technology comes, because it's a leveler. Today, even if you are a small organization, you can buy cloud, you can buy IoT, you can buy ML on instance basis, on a small infrastructure basis, and that does right from product designing to R&D to your logistics to your manufacturing process, fault detection, QA improvement, everything is technology doing for you. So I think time has come for us to become more ambitious about being a technology seller, finished product seller, be it automobile, be it food. I would like, I mean, we all eat pizza in Ahmedabad. I want to see an Italian in Milan going to eat undio and fafda. That is, in my opinion, we becoming a global leader. So a little different than IT, but I think that's my vision about it.
Right. I mean, a good analogy, you know, we are still a software services provider, not a software product provider.
Correct.
Agreed. So, I mean, and this question to both the Kulin Bhai as well as Vinod ji as well as Dr. Sahai. So, as Sandeep ji rightly said, the Indian tech giants are servicing to the world, the large companies of the world. What is the expectation of Indian industry? Because if you look, I mean, the way they are servicing to the world giants, they are not there at that level in the domestic segment. So what is the expectation from the industry that how they should provide the technology leverage which can be used to industry to further enhance their exports or internal processes?
Whilst I understand your question is more on large MNCs and the products they provide, I think the one huge asset India has is our digital startups. And I believe the power of startups is that they are nimble, they are agile in the way they produce their products, and they are very focused on, you know, also serving the needs of India as a market for both India and abroad. So I personally believe that that is one huge unlock, and I'm already seeing a lot of startups enabling you know, the manufacturing industry. Today, 5 years ago, you would not have had B2B marketplaces. Now today we have B2B marketplaces which are allowing any manufacturer in any part of India to sell digitally in India. And now there are startups connecting Indian manufacturing to marketplaces abroad, where the entire, as was mentioned earlier, we need solutions on supply chain end-to-end, logistics, traceability, connection with different marketplaces. There are startups doing that. So I think India's huge advantage is our digital economy. And I have every confidence that the digital economy of India will solve for a lot of these use cases that we are talking about.
Yeah. What I believe is, along with Make in India, we should now think of design in India also. Because we are a lot more dependent on European and American companies, and we should not be like, be the factory. We should be factory, but the designing should also be us. We should not be a labor for them. So that is what is required, and that is what is important if we want to be Viksit Bharat by 2047. The mindset of our the students, our startups, everything has to be changed. And even government level also, there should be a design policy for this, how we should look at the products, how we should look at the services, what Indian market required, and how we can make it using our old age technologies or our aesthetic sense, and to how we can cater the European or American markets. That is one thing. Second thing is what you said, what is good for multinational is there, but India is a hub of MSMEs, and there is what Indian manufacturing is there. So we have to design the products, and not only the product, but the adaptability of technology in MSMEs is very poor. So that is important. First, the mindset of the MSMEs, including the owner and the workers, has to be changed so that they can adopt the technology and how they can leverage this technology to become the next level of production base.
Thanks, Davino ji. So what you and Sandeep ji both mentioned is about primarily having the product-based rather than services-based. So a similar question on the follow-up question on Dr. Sai. So what are the policies, that would govern, that Kulin Bhai mentioned about the startup in digital economy, that they become the next, product masters rather than service masters?
In fact, let me tell you, I have a little different perception on the entire scenario. Multinationals are coming into the country under the PLI scheme. Lot of large companies have already come to India, and as the PLI scheme fructify into many other sectors, they will be joining it. Under the PLI scheme, we have a provision of the local content, and therefore these MNCs, they are forced to develop ancillaries into the country. I'm looking into a hub and spoke model where a large company come and set up a base and MSMEs developed an ancillaries. We have seen that happening when Suzuki came to India. They set up their base in Gurgaon. Our auto ancillaries, they developed around them. And today, those auto ancillaries are the world leaders. Why India is doing extremely well in auto component is because of that. So I personally feel that that kind of model is likely to be implemented in many other sectors. We are already seeing the success of this PLI scheme in the mobile sector. In 2012, 8.3% of mobile in India were imported. Today, 99% are domestically manufactured. Though, of course, there are issues of the part and component which are being not developed here. But I personally feel that MSMEs have an extremely important role under the PLI scheme. The absorption of technology in MSMEs is definitely going up, because wherever the second generation or the third generation youngster have joined, the absorption of the technology is at the peak. Of course, where the old generations are continuing, but they are rather forced to adopt the technology because there is no other way to survive on that.
Right. That's what we are also observing in the consulting, that the new generations is coming with the newer technologies. Before we end, Dr. Badri, you would like to add anything on this, how the digital startup, what policies should be there for their growth, so that they can also contribute in the exports in the product economy?
Yeah, definitely. Like I mentioned earlier, there are a lot of opportunities for the startups to get into processes and products that are supporting exports. E-commerce is a big example where these e-commerce platforms are able to, the MSMEs can focus just on what they are producing, what they are developing, and the rest of it is taken over by the e-commerce platform. So that's why the entry barriers for the MSMEs to the export ecosystem are lowered because of these kind of e-commerce startups. So for this, we need to have more supportive ecosystem for the startups, the tech startups, to come up with these kind of products rather than just consulting services. Even if the market forces are themselves helping create such startups, but very proactive involvement of the government to specifically link the startup promotion schemes with the export promotion goals, and to encourage and incentivize development of products that can help exports. We can focus on Indian exports, but these tech companies can develop solutions for the world actually. So why should we only restrict restrict ourselves to the Indian market? We should be, like Honorable Prime Minister says, we should make in India for the world, not only for India. So I think these products that we are talking about, like rightly emphasized by my fellow esteemed panelists, we need to think of these as catering, the products that are developed by them as catering to not only India but also world. And a lot of other developing countries face very similar challenges. Exporters there also face very similar challenges. So if we can develop products for our exporters, we can easily scale it up globally. So I think that's broadly what I would answer to.
So before we end, for the couple
before I have one, I think very, very important point to add before we end. So we must understand that we are an economy of large human resources. today, 20 years back, and it gives me goosebumps. When I was possibly 30, I have heard this so many times. Other nationalities used to say that you have too many people. And I used to tell them, mark my words, one day it is going to become our strength. And today that is exactly what it is. But the fact is, we still are a large population. And when we talk about IoT, ML, all these technologies, if you see the pyramid, it is the top of the pyramid where the maximum value, wherever human brain will still be required. And more and more of the lower pyramid is going to be replaced by machines. So we must take kind of pre-measures to see that as the machines start doing more and more jobs, how are we in anticipation going to upskill our people or laterally going to skill our people? Because we don't want to be suddenly hit by a tsunami that today what is our strength is huge population, and in 10, 15 years we realize that 60-70% of our population who is low skilled has been replaced by machines and we don't know what to do with them. So when we talk about IoT, cloud, ML, this is going to happen. And we therefore have to take early steps to make sure that we create alternate jobs for our large population before they are replaced by machines.
Good points, Mr. Andekar, especially on the upskilling. Before we have a couple of questions from the audience, I have a last point for Kulin Bhai, and I hope that he will support me, because I am going to ask in Gujarati now. કારણ કે આપણે હમણાં જે માનનીય મુખ્યમંત્રીએ કહ્યું કે એક્સપોર્ટ એટલે ઇંગ્લિશ, એવું નથી, ગુજરાતીમાં પણ થાય. એટલે કુલીનભાઈ મારી બાજુમાં બેઠા છે એટલે હું ગુજરાતીમાં પૂછવાનો એક મોકો લઉં છું એમને. એ કુલીનભાઈ, તમે આમ કહેવામાં આવ્યું કે લેગાસી ઇન્ડસ્ટ્રી, તમારી તો 100+ ઓલમોસ્ટ યરની લેગાસી ઇન્ડસ્ટ્રી છે, તો એમાં જે ચેન્જીસ કરવાના હોય ડિજિટલાઇઝેશનના, સ્પેશિયલી ઇન્વેન્ટરીનો એરિયા હોય કે સ્ટોક્સનો એરિયા હોય કે જે તમારી ઇન્ડસ્ટ્રી માટે ક્રિટિકલ છે, અને એ જ એક્સપોર્ટમાં બી એ જ ક્રિટિકલ છે, કારણ કે જો સ્ટોક અને ઇન્વેન્ટરી ના હોય તો તમે એક્સપોર્ટનું પ્લાનિંગ કેવી રીતે કરો? તો એન્ટાયર પ્લાનિંગ પ્રોસેસ એમાં તમે કઈ રીતે જુઓ છો કે આ નવી એજ ટેકનોલોજી, કારણ કે ઓવરઓલ એમણે બી કહ્યું વાંડેકરે કે માણસો લેગાસીથી કરતા જ હતા અને કામ થતું જ હતું, તો કેવી રીતે ટેકનોલોજી એને રિપ્લેસ કરે છે જેથી તમારો ગ્રોથ વધે અને એટ ધ સેમ ટાઈમ એ માણસોનું બી અપસ્કિલિંગ થાય કે એ લોકો બીજામાં વપરાય? એના માટે આપનો શું ઓપિનિયન
છે ને? કોઈ પણ ઇન્ડસ્ટ્રીમાં તમને લોંગ ટર્મ સર્વાઈવ થવું હોય, હવે અમે 120 વર્ષનું, વી આર અ કંપની ઓફ 120 યર્સ, તો કોન્સ્ટન્ટલી રીઇન્વેન્શન ના કરો તો તમે સર્વાઈવ નથી કરવાના. સો યુ હેવ ટુ ઓલવેઝ બી રેડી કે પોતાના જાતને તમે કઈ રીતે ડિસરપ્ટ કરો. હવે એ ડિસરપ્શનમાં સમ થિંગ્સ આર ગોઈંગ ટુ ચેન્જ, ન્યૂ સ્કિલ્સ વિલ બી રિક્વાયર્ડ, પણ એવું કદી એ નથી થતું કે ધ ફંડામેન્ટલ થિંગ્સ that are required to make yourself competitive, તમારું જે ક્લિયર કમ્પિટિટિવ સોર્સિસ છે એ બહુ જ જુદી રીતે નથી બદલાવાના. એટલે આઈ થિંક એઝ લોંગ એઝ યુ બેટ ઓન ધ નેક્સ્ટ હોરાઇઝન ટેકનોલોજી અને તમે ટેકનોલોજી એમ્બ્રેસ કરવા તૈયાર રહો, તમે ચેન્જ થવા માટે તૈયારી રાખો, તો યુ કેન એન્શ્યોર દેટ એવરી જે નવું ટ્રાન્ઝિશન આવવાનું છે ટેકનોલોજીનું, યુ પ્રિપેર ફોર ઇટ. And still at the same time, તમારી જે સ્પેશિયલ સ્કિલ છે, વોટ મેક્સ યુ સ્પેશિયલ એઝ અ કંપની, તમારું કલ્ચર, તમારા પ્રોસેસીસ, તમારું DNA, એ તમને જાળવીને રાખવું પડે. એટલે અરવિંદ હેઝ ગોન ફ્રોમ મેકિંગ ધોતીઝ, સારીઝ, ડેનિમ, નાવ ટેકનિકલ ટેક્સટાઇલ્સ. પ્રોડક્ટ્સ બદલતા ગયા છે, ટેકનોલોજીઝ બદલતી ગઈ છે, બટ વોટ મેક્સ અસ સ્પેશિયલ last 100 years, there are many things that have remained the same also.
Right.
So I think life is about the balance of both. Remain good at what you're good at and be very open for change and technology.
Right, that's your culture, that's your DNA. So before we end, I think we don't have much time, but if one or two questions to any of the panelists, we can take it, otherwise we'll end. Yeah, the gentleman there. Please specify your question, is it general or specific to the individual?
It's kind of a general question. So I'm Himagna Bhatt. I'm an analyst in international trade and development sector. So my question is that our exports currently are very concentrated. The first export we do is $94 billion, it's petroleum. The second export we do comes to $30 billion. US is our highest importer, the top import partner. But again, the second we go is USA has around $80 billion of imports from us. The second is UAE. It goes to $30 billion. The thing is that to secure value chains right now in a global world where we have 3 or more wars happening right now. What government needs to do right now is probably build up infrastructure and not just the technology, because without tech there won't be any technology. Like if a woman gives a child to birth to a child, she needs to feed him or that child. Like if you got my analogy here, right? So my question is like what government will do to boost up the infrastructure and not just the technology always. Because most of the youth, they are directed towards let's do software, let's do IT, let's do this course. No one wants to go in mechanical and such things. So yeah.
Let me just respond to you on the diversification. Please bear in mind that out of 8,000 odd products which are traded at 6 digit, just 395 products account for 75% of the global trade. So there is concentration itself in the global trade pattern, and that's quite logical. Over a period of time, India's profile of exports have changed. Earlier, it was dominated entirely by the labor-intensive sectors. Today, engineering is our prime contributor, followed by petroleum, and now electronic sector is picking up. In next 5 years, probably the electronic sector may cross even the engineering sector. So far as the diversification is concerned, of course, North America has become our predominant partner. In last 10 years, the share of North America in India's exports have gone up by around 6%. Europe has also gone up around 3%. Unfortunately, entire Africa and others, they hardly have the purchasing power to sustain exports on a long-term basis. We were hoping that Africa will become the food bowl of the world, and with that, probably the purchasing power will go up, but that has not happened. Coming back on the infrastructure, government is improving infrastructure, and one of the reasons why logistics cost in the country is coming down is because of the infrastructure alone. In fact, we did a study where we have observed that Indian truck used to cover around 300 kilometers a day in the pre-GST regime. In the last 5 years, the efficiency has gone up. They are covering roughly 600 to 650 kilometers a day, which is close to the international benchmark. So definitely things have improved. Government is investing in infrastructure a lot. In fact, on the technology sector, probably the private sector is taking the lead.
I will not, with the time limit, we will not address questions, but my fellow panelists are there around. If you have some specific questions, you can always meet them and discuss. I thank all my fellow panelists for their valuable insight and inputs. We have learnt a lot from their experience and thanks every one of you for patiently listening us. Thanks everyone. Yeah.
Thank you so much, moderator sir, and all the panelists for this wonderful session. We appreciate it. Before you leave, we would like to present as a gesture a memento to all of you. I humbly request Shri Sandeep Sagle sir, the Industries Commissioner. Yeah, there is the presentation still left, so we request you to kindly be seated over here. And also request Mr. Darshan Shah to step on the dais to present the mementos to all the panelists and the moderator. It's a beautiful fabric wall hanging, and as our Honorable Chief Minister Sir said, it is also vocal for local that we preach, and this actually gets exported. So you can clap for that, applaud that we have chose probably the first and the best thing for all our speakers and the panelists. Thank you so much, gentlemen. I request you to kindly step forward for a group photograph. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Now we shall move towards the presentations on export financing options for micro, small and medium enterprises, navigating the landscape. The first presentation that will happen on Foreign Trade Policy 2023, Key Changes and Highlights. Then we have the second presentation, which is on export financing options for MSMEs navigating the landscape. And the third will be the presentation on SIDBI schemes for financing MSMEs. We take a moment before we call the dignitaries on the dais for their presentations. Stage, Dr. Rahul Singh, ITS, Joint DGFT, Directorate General of Foreign Trade, Gujarat. Welcome, sir. We would like also to call upon stage Mr. Suresh Kathanhar, Deputy Managing Director, IDBI Bank, and last but not the least, Mr. Sudatta Mandal, Deputy Managing Director, SIDBI Bank. We welcome all the three gentlemen on the stage, please. Good evening, gentlemen, and foremost, I would request Dr. Rahul Singh, ITS Joint DGFT, to present his presentation on Foreign Trade Policy 2023, Key Changes and Highlights.
Senior officers, friends from industry, ladies and gentlemen. The topic that I'll be taking will be the export scenario and the new foreign trade policy. In fact, when the topic was given to me, I was thinking, what will I tell this august audience about foreign trade policy? And, there's a saying in my department that if you actually want to learn foreign trade policy, you should sit with a Gujarati and a Gujarati exporter and go what is beyond written in black and white. Only a Gujarati can tell you what is there in the foreign trade policy. But I'll try to do justice to what has been given to me. A lot of data on Indian exports have been given by the esteemed previous speakers, but I'll put forth in a consolidated way. The GDP growth that we have last year was around 7%. The overall exports were $676 billion. The previous year, the last year, it went up to $76 billion. We are now the 5th largest economy, and we'll have a nominal GDP of around $14 very soon. This is the export data that we have. You can see a significant jump in the last 2 financial years. We were around $300 billion for way too long. But in 2021-22 and 22-23, we have a huge upward trajectory, and now the exports are, merchandise exports are around $450 billion. Exports till August of this financial year have also grown up to $244 billion, and it is expected that we'll be able to match or in fact cross the last year financial exports. Similarly, the services exports also had a huge growth in the last 2 financial years. Last year, it was around $325 billion. And this year also, we have already achieved $192 billion, which is 6.2% growth over the previous financial year in the same period. We all know these the top major export products from the country. Engineering now constitutes the largest growth sector. We have petroleum, gems and jewelry, chemicals, drug and electronic goods. As has been told in the previous panel discussion, it is expected that electronics exports will move upwards from here onwards, and maybe it will become big exports in the coming years. This has been the performance of India during the last foreign trade policy. The world has grown by 28%, but India's growth in exports was 78%. So we have grown more than what the world exports have grown. Some success stories of Indian exports are engineering exports and agriculture exports, which have shown more than 70% growth in the last foreign policy period of 15-23. Similarly, we had growth of around 49% in pharma, and electronics goods have an export growth of around 300%. So they have tripled in the last foreign policy period. Marine product exports similarly has shown increased growth. The toy sector is also one of the upcoming sectors which has a huge export potential, and the exports are growing from India. This is the slide which I want everybody of you to look at and just absorb what is there in the figures. The growth in Gujarat in the last 2 financial years has been tremendous. The Gujarat has become the #1 exporter for the last 2 financial years, and of the $400 billion export, $126 and $149 billion came from Gujarat itself. So Gujarat now accounts for more than half, 1/3 of exports. As has been already mentioned that 8 districts in Gujarat are there in the top 25 districts in exports in India. In fact, 5 are there in the top 10 districts. Jamnagar, Dwarka, Surat, Ahmedabad and Bharuch are the top districts of exports from Gujarat, and they are among the top 10 districts in exports in India. This is also a figure which is very close to my heart. You all must be knowing that in foreign trade policy, we classify exporters as star export houses. Gujarat probably has the highest number of export houses, exporters, star exporters in India. More than around 13 companies are 5-star export houses. 5-star export houses are companies which have more than $800 million of export in current +2 financial years. And in total, more than 2,000 companies are star export houses from Gujarat. Considering all this, the new foreign trade policy, you must be knowing, was announced in April of this financial year. 4 main pillars of the foreign trade policy was that we moved from an incentive-based regime to a remission-based regime. Export promotion through collaboration. We had collaboration with exporters, with collaboration with states, with state-level export promotion councils. We went about and went to districts for export promotion, and we nominated district export promotion councils in all districts. Ease of doing business and reduction in transaction cost by digitizing every process of exports. And we also, in the new foreign trade policy, we also focus on the emerging areas of exports like e-commerce and developing districts as exporter. Some of the progress that we made in the previous foreign trade policy was automation of ICs, automation of RCMCs and e-platform for certificate of origin. We also had COVID help desks and contact centers during the challenging period of COVID. we now have online data exchange with almost all government agencies related to exports, and all pending MEIs were cleared during the previous policy period. Some of the macro changes that we have made in the new foreign trade policy is that all authorizations that we issue in the new foreign trade policy will be issued probably in a day or two. The commitment that we have made is that we will issue all licenses on the same day in the automatic processing module. There is some rationalization on export house so that you can get recognized easily and market your products globally. There has been some steps to boost manufacturing in the policy, like the PM Mitra scheme has been included as a common service provider in EPCG schemes. There has been some boost to dairy sectors and fruits and vegetable sectors in terms of reduction in average EU or giving double weightage to fruits and vegetable sectors for status holder certification. New technologies have been given preferences in the new foreign trade policy. This is all I have on the foreign trade policy. Gujarat has been the pioneer of exports, and I think with the present leadership here, this will continue, and Gujarat will probably make way and show other states on how exports will be done. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing those important points which have highlighted the Foreign Trade Policy 2023. We now request the export financing options for MSMEs navigating the landscape, that topic to be covered by Mr. Suresh Katanhar, Deputy Managing Director, IDBI Bank.
Good evening, dignitaries and delegates from all over the country. It's my privilege to be amongst you this evening, and I thank Government of Gujarat for giving me this opportunity. We will discuss some few brief initiatives and the challenges, if any, are. This is the coverage of the presentation. We'll cover the overview of the MSME in India and relating to exports. India's merchandise exports, I think Dr. Rahul shared some data. Statewide share in India's exports during 23-24. Major sectors contributing to export growth. Exports from India vis-a-vis export credit financing, credit disbursements. Significance of export finance for MSME. Challenges in front of MSME. Export financing options available for MSME, government initiatives for MSME, and collaboration. I think collaboration is the key. And a last slide will indicate the IDBI Bank's performance. So needless to mention, MSME is a critical driver of the economy, and exports play a critical role in the economy. MSME contribute 33% to the country's GDP. And about 45% of the exports come from the MSME sector. MSME generates employment of more than 12 crore population of this country. Around 6.5 crore MSME units survive in the country. It is projected that it will contribute at least 60% of India's total export, which is 2 trillion by 2030. MSME exports stood at presently USD 338 billion, which is both put together merchandise and service sector. This slide was incidentally shown by Dr. Rahul, so I'll not labor much on this. It is 450 US billion of the exports happening in India. But the point to be noted is India's share is still about 3%, vis-a-vis China's 14%. But it has been growing, particularly in IT and software. Given the kind of potential which Gujarat has and India has, I think there is a tremendous scope to grow, and we shall work towards that. State-wise share, this is very interesting. This shows the strength of the Gujarat. Gujarat contributes the highest in exports, 32%. Amongst the 6 states in the country contribute 70%, and Gujarat is amongst the topmost state. May we have big round of applause for Gujarat again, please. Thank you. These are the few sectors which contribute to the export growth: engineering, petroleum, agriculture, handloom, organic, inorganic chemicals, drugs, electronics, cotton yarn fabrics, textile, ready-to-made garments, gems and jewelry. Exports from India versus credit disbursements. See, exports have been growing except for 2019-20 and 2021 being global pandemic. But otherwise it has been growing. And also the bank financing, the disbursements are also growing in the tandem. But there is some gap which needs to be filled up, and I think banks are poised for the same. Significance of export finance of MSE. These have been some significance which have been listed: to reduce trade risks and manage international risk. The export financing helps mitigate these kind of risk, facilitate opportunities in the global market, to participate in the global markets and take the advantage and opportunities available in the global markets, address cash flow challenges, that is the basic purpose of the financing, helps MSME in managing more competitive terms with the international partners by giving the various schemes and the payment terms. And also the ECGC helps in the default risk. The challenges which are in front of the MSME are on the corporate governance. I think some work needs to be done there for better bookkeeping, housekeeping, corporate governance issues, so that their proposals become more acceptable for financing. Access to capital. This needs to grow because the need for capex and the net working capital which has to be contributed for the MSMEs. There's information asymmetry, particularly about the government schemes, opportunities available, adoption of the new technology. It has been discussed in the previous sessions what the role technology plays, and adoption of digital initiatives is the key for the growth. There's an inertia, so that covers the point. More importantly, quality centricity. I think quality, productivity, efficiency are the key buzzwords for any exports or any growth of the MSME. Delayed receivables, those are also the challenges we have listed because in India itself there are about 4.5 trillion overdues of receivables. There is a lesser understanding of the trade regulation and compliance, for which, of course, there are a lot of export facilitation centers government has started and initiated. Skilled manpower, it is growing, and that's an advantage that we have a large scale manpower. Those are getting skilled over a period. These are some options. A plain vanilla, but yes, these are the type of financing available: term loans, pre-shipment credits, post-shipment credits, foreign currency loans which comes at competitive rates, non-fund based limits which reduces the cost and improve the trading, leverages trading, short-term bill discounting, and managing currency derivatives, loan equivalent reserves risk, which helps to mitigate the forex risk. Government has taken several initiatives amongst Digital India, Made in India, Atmanirbhar Bharat, and so on, and also launched champion portals, 59-minute portal. Government also offers, as per the Reserve Bank of India, interest equalization scheme, interest rebate of 3% to the MSME exporters. ECGC cover has been enhanced from 20 crore limits to the 50 crore. CGT MSC has been increased from 2 crore to 5 crore, which gives further strength to the exporters, MSME, and also the banks to support the financing. Gold card scheme has been introduced for the exporters, which gives various facilities. Credit linked subsidies are there. As I mentioned, export facilitation centers have been opened by the government, 54. These are the key support which comes from the government. These centers helps exporters meet the expectation and give a lot of advantages, handhold on the various initiatives, and also the support for the exports. Free trade agreements have been signed, which facilitates exports. To end, I think all of you will agree that collaboration is the key. Collaboration of MSME and exports with banks, fintechs, logistic companies, state government, export houses, ECGC, government, and I am sure we are looking at a USD 2 trillion target of MSME by 2030. IDBI Bank, some key numbers. Thank you very much, and I wish Vibrant Gujarat 2024 all the best and great success. God bless.
Thank you very much, sir, for sharing all these schemes of IDBI Bank with us so that more and more people benefit out of it. Next, we would like to welcome on the address and the presentation Mr. Sudatta Mandal, Deputy Managing Director, SIDBI Bank, who will be talking on export financing options for MSMEs from the SIDBI Bank.
Thank you so much. Dignitaries, my fellow speakers, ladies and gentlemen, wish you all a very good evening. I'm the last man standing here, and I'm sure it's been a long day for a lot of you. So I'll request a few more minutes of your patience and forbearance. And to make matters worse, or perhaps better for you, there seems to be some confusion on the topic. I was requested to speak on the general MSME export financing landscape, which I'm going to do. My team was separately told to also highlight the various schemes for the SMEs that SIDBI has, so which I believe is going to run parallelly on the screen. So you really have an option of not listening to me and simply looking at the presentation. Okay. Great. So I'm happy to be here as part of the highly enthusiastic gathering of stakeholders who have been part of the growth story of SMEs in the country. To begin with, let me start with a few statistics just to get a feel of the importance of the sector. Share of SME gross value added GVA in all India GDP during the year 2019-20, 2020-21 and 21-22 was 30.5%, 27.2% and 29.2% respectively. The share of MSME manufacturing output in all India manufacturing output during the same period was 36.6%, 36.9% and 36.2% respectively. This is as per the data of the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, Government of India. The share of export of MSMEs specified products in all India exports during the year 21, 2022 and 2023 was 49.4%, 45% and 43.6% respectively. This is as per the statistics of the Directorate General of Commercial Intelligence and Statistics. As on 2nd August 2023, as per the Udyam registration portal, the total number of persons employed in the MSME in India was 12.36 crore. So that will give you a flavor of how important the MSME sector is for the country. Coming to India trade, in FY 22-23, India's exports rose 14% to a record of US dollars 770 billion, and imports rose to US dollars 892 billion. Today, it is one of the world's fastest growing economies and is expected to outpace global growth. India's strengths including a large domestic market, a skilled and young workforce, a diverse economy with a growing manufacturing sector, strategic location and evolving supply chains, that is China Plus One strategy, can be leveraged for enhancing global trade. Within this backdrop, the MSME sector is poised to play a significant role in realizing this potential. To augment India's global trade footprint through the MSME sector, India needs to develop high-quality products and services tailored to the requirements of international markets while maintaining cost efficiency and adopting new technologies and innovative processes to improve productivity and elevate quality standards. The adoption of technology by the MSMEs was underlined by the previous panel speakers as well. There is a need to establish collaborative partnership with larger global peers to gain access to new markets and cutting-edge technologies, and participate in international trade fairs and exhibitions to showcase products and services to potential buyers. To enhance exports and ensure localization, it is essential to make the country a global market manufacturing powerhouse by improving India's manufacturing base. MSMEs lack access to credit because of their small size and because they often don't have collateral. Banks and financial institutions are generally hesitant to lend to MSMEs. MSME exporters also face the issue of long repayment cycle and often lose out because of currency fluctuation. These are small players who do not have a financial cushion to take care of extended payment cycles, and they are too small to even consider currency hedging. Coming to export finance, but of course, before I move to export finance, let me also assure you that the landscape is changing drastically. Now you have digital data sets available to the lenders to assess the creditworthiness of MSMEs. They don't have to rely on the traditional balance sheet, audited balance sheet, which the lenders earlier used to take with a pinch of salt, if not a dollop of salt. And these data sets, which are now available digitally through a consent of the borrower, are helping the bankers assess the credit in a more efficient and real-time basis, and therefore the quantum of credit, which means the access to credit as well as the cost of that credit, is coming down. Coming to export finance, of the several factors influencing export growth, credit is a very important factor which enables exporters in efficiently executing their export orders. Export finance assistance is extended at various stages of the export cycle. Loans or advances are granted by financial institutions to exporters for financing the purchase, processing, manufacturing, or packing of goods prior to shipment, which is known as the pre-shipment credit. Similarly, loans and advances are granted by financial institutions to exporters from the date of extending credit after shipment of goods to the date of realization of the export proceeds, which is known as the post-shipment credit. Banks and financial institutions also extend factoring services to exporters, wherein they buy the accounts receivable of the exporter at a discount in exchange for immediate money, which converts a credit sale to a cash sale. Select steps taken by the Government of India and the regulator, which is the Reserve Bank of India, are as follows. Export financing being a part of RBI's PSL norms, signifying the strategic importance of the sector. The sanction limit for classification of export credit under PSL is Rs 400 billion per borrower, ensuring that the benefit percolates to the MSME sector, which is most in need of such support. Under the interest equalization scheme for pre- and post-shipment rupee export credit, interest equalization of 3% is available for all MSME manufacturer exporters exporting under any of the HS lines, as against 2% for manufacturer exporters and merchant exporters, non-SME, exporting only under 410 specific HS lines. As per the guidelines, there is an upfront reduction in the interest rate charged to eligible exporters by the banks. This improves the cost of export credit for exporters. The RBI has undertaken various initiatives such as TREADS in terms of providing collateral-free, invoice-based financing, which has been successful and is growing consistently. The government has taken a number of recent initiatives to support the SMEs in the country, including the Emergency Credit Line Guarantee Scheme, ECLGS, during the COVID period, equity infusion through MSME Self-Reliant India Fund, revised criteria for classification of MSMEs and inclusion of retail and wholesale traders as MSMEs so that the benefits available to the MSMEs is reached out to a larger section of the entrepreneurs and enterprises, launching of an online portal, Champions, to cover many aspects of e-governance, including grievance redressal and handholding of MSMEs, rollout of raising and accelerating MSME performance or RAMP program, launch of the Udyam Assist platform by SIDBI in association with the Ministry of Micro, Medium and Small Enterprises to bring the informal micro enterprises under the formal ambit for availing the benefit under priority sector lending and other benefits for the SMEs in the country. Coming to the government interventions sought by the industry, the exporters have sought the central government's intervention in providing affordable and easy availability of credit to MSMEs amid the global headwinds due to the lack of liquidity in the market. Recently, FIO has requested the extension of the ECLGS scheme till March 31, 2024, and restoration of interest subsidy benefit of 5% to manufacturer exporters, largely on account of a global demand slowdown. The government is actively considering these requests, I understand. Coming to the broad steps taken by SIDBI and the other players in the market as lenders to the SMEs, SIDBI has several financing products catering to the financing needs of the SMEs at all stages of their business cycle. SIDBI has been nimble in identifying the financing gaps and requirements and tailoring its products to meet these requirements. We are in the process of designing specific products for financing SMEs and startups in the defense sector, many of whom would be exporters or have export potential. It is no longer an option, but an imperative for the Indian exporting MSMEs to adopt greener, energy-efficient, and sustainable processes and practices if they want to get integrated and remain into the global value chains. SIDBI is playing a pioneering role in funding the transition of SMEs into greener and energy-efficient processes. It is partnering with several multilateral financing institutions and development banks like the World Bank, the Asian Development Bank, KfW of Germany, Agence France de Développement of France, and others for both credit lines and risk-sharing facilities. SIDBI was not only instrumental in setting up the first TREDS platform in India, that is RXIL, or Receivable Exchange of India Limited, which seeks to address the delayed payment problem of the SMEs, which is one of the major pain points for the SMEs, but has also onboarded on all the three operating TREDS platforms as a financier. So SIDBI has started discounting of these bills on the TREDS platform, all the three TREDS platforms for over a year now. RXIL, after a successful sandbox testing, has very recently commenced operations of its international trade financing service platform in Gift City, which will cater to export and import factoring, providing an electronic platform to connect exporters, importers, and credit insurers across the world. In light of the large and growing trade finance gap, Exim Bank, and I'm happy to see some of my ex-colleagues from Exim Bank here, so Exim Bank has developed a new program, the Trade Assistance Program, or TAP, under which it offers partial or full guarantees to cover payment risks on banks in developing countries related to export transactions with these countries by the SMEs and other exporters as well. And I understand this program is growing leaps and bounds, and I wish all the best to my colleagues in Exim Bank for this program. Similarly, ECGC has also launched a new scheme for providing enhanced cover of 90% to small exporters under its export credit insurance for banks. Other recent developments, there are many, but I would just like to highlight one of them just to show how important the SME sector in India is and how the lenders are looking at the importance of the SME sector in the country. HSBC India and UK Export Finance, UKEF, intend to establish a financing program of up to £100 million to support Indian SMEs and corporates for financing their imports from the UK. This partnership is expected to enhance the availability of credit for Indian MSMEs and boost trade ties between the two countries. Both parties have signed a letter of intent to enable them to work together on opportunities relating to UKEF's guarantee-based structures and plans to work closely to originate, structure, and extend financing and credit facilities to Indian SMEs. What could be the possible measures towards export finance and export competitiveness? Number one, reduce trade barriers by lowering tariffs. Number two, simplifying customs procedures. Number three, promote innovation through tax incentives, innovation hubs, and support for startups. Number four, develop a skilled workforce through vocational training, education, and apprenticeships. And the need for upskilling and reskilling the workforce was underlined by the speakers in the earlier panel. Encourage SMEs to participate in global supply chains by facilitating access to international markets and trade events, and supporting them in complying with international standards through technical assistance and training. And lastly, blockchain technology has the potential to transform the MSME ecosystem by improving access to finance, increasing transparency and traceability, enhancing security and reducing fraud, and improving access to global markets. It will be really amiss of me if I do not mention the fintech's role in the MSME export financing sector in the country today. The fintechs have a huge advantage. They have been seen as a promising solution. Both established financial players like banks and lending institutions, as well as small fintech players, can take advantage of technology to improve credit access to MSMEs, particularly the MSME exporters. Fintech companies offer trade finance and other export solutions to SMEs at a low cost because they use technology solutions to identify creditworthy borrowers. Fintech companies are usually less insistent on borrowers providing collateral. Equally, because their due diligence is technology-driven, it is faster and more accurate than the traditional people-driven approach. Fintech lenders are particularly attractive to SME exporters who want to take advantage of the e-commerce boom to enter global markets. And that's because fintech makes the process of financing smooth and quick, something the exporters need. I'm happy to share with you that SIDBI for quite some time now, over a year, has been associating and partnering with several fintechs in the country to get access to their data analytics tools. Today, the data is available totally digitally based on the consent of the borrower. So we have already included the GST data analytic tools, the bank statement analytic tools, as well as the ITR, income tax return analytic tools in our credit due diligence process. And basis this, we have come up with an express loan product where you can get credit for machinery purchase up to 1 crore totally as a straight-through processing, totally digitally, totally contactless. You don't have to interact with any of the SIDBI officers. You can simply come onto the platform on SIDBI's website, enter your application details, give your consent, your data from the GST, your bank account statements, and the income tax returns will be fetched. And basis that, we have a rule engine in place which will then decide on the credit and sanction the credit instantaneously to you. Up to 1 crore. I'm told that no other bank in the country has come up with this kind of a product of such a quantum of 1 crore rupees. In addition to that, there are several other measures that we have undertaken along with Civil TransUnion and a company called OPL, Online Public Sector Loans Limited, where SIDBI is a promoter shareholder. We have developed a credit ranking model for the SMEs, which is again based on digital data, which is based on the GST returns, on the income tax returns, and the bank account statement. This helps in giving a credit ranking or a rating to even a new-to-bank customer. Because traditionally, for quite some time, the banks have been using the CMR score of CIBIL as an important tool or input in their due diligence process. But an SME company or a startup which is new to the banking sector, has not availed credit from any of the banks, will not have a CMR score. So for that kind of a customers, the rank which we have developed, the FIT rank, will be an ideal tool for the lenders to assess their credit worthiness. It comes with a very robust assessment of the probability of default, and it will help the lenders in extending finance to the SMEs, particularly the new-to-bank customers. And SIDBI has already started using this FIT rank in its express loan journey, which is a totally straight-through process, contactless credit process. To conclude, there are multiple financing options now available to the SME exporters, providing access to credit at competitive rates. The lenders in India, particularly the fintechs, are increasingly leveraging technology for reducing cost of customer acquisition, better risk and faster assessment and risk mitigation, credit administration and recovery, which augurs well for the MSME exporters. Structured financing products like export factoring are increasingly being used for providing cost-effective export financing options. and the positive and proactive changes in the regulations are bringing in standardization and consequently democratizing credit by making them available at affordable cost to the SMEs as well. We still have a long way to go, and SIDBI is committed to being the market maker and bringing out innovative, digitally driven financing solutions for the SMEs. Thank you for your attention and have a nice evening.
Thank you, sir, for sharing the export financing options with us in detail. And we also thank both the other presenters and would now request Shri Sagle sir, Industries Commissioner, and also Darshan Shah sir, if he's here. Okay, no problem. Would request Sagle sir to kindly present the mementos to the esteemed speakers. Thank you so much, and I request the gentleman to kindly stop for the photograph. Sir, would request you to join them. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. And thank you, audience, for being so patient and so participative over here. It is indeed a pleasure having you all over here. We'll request you to kindly join us for the dinner, and see you soon. This is Dhwani signing off. Bye-bye.